all sizes and industries to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/fray. That's ZipRecruiter.com/fray. One more time, to try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/fray. And now, on to Clint.
Welcome to another episode of Into the Fray, hovering over you like a black triangle in a deserted field. Visit the mothership at intothefrayradio.com. There you can find all the episodes, the blog posts, iTF gear, and sign up for the free guest newsletter. The weekly show is, of course, always free and available in all podcatchers, but if you'd like to support the show, and why wouldn't you, go to the website and click Become an Insider, which in turn gets you extra content each and every month. And by the way, if you would be so kind as to leave a rating and review in your listening platform of choice, Cosmic Karma shall be yours. Be part of the discussion by joining the interactive ITF Facebook group, follow on Twitter at ITF_radio, and Instagram. If you have an experience that you'd like to share, email Shannon at intothefrayradio.com or call the hotline anytime at 844-866-3366. Thanks so much for listening. Now, if you would be so kind, buckle up your safety belts. Put that tray table in the upright position. Liftoff is upon us.
Yeah, Amazon is the way to go.
Don't get me started on Amazon. It's my favorite thing on the planet.
Oh, I know. I'm addicted. I am so. Oops.
Yeah, gotta be a Prime member. You know, it's where it's at.
It is.
Anyone that's not doing that, they're so missing out.
Well, there's nothing like ordering something before you go to bed and having it there by lunch the next day.
Dude, it's $100 a year. That's it. It's. Can you imagine before that? What were we doing? Paying for shipping? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. And also, I don't know if you've ever been on Wish.
No.
Okay, so Wish is it's an app. Everything on there is like, it's super cheap. So you can buy anything. You can buy replicas of everything. Oh. So for flashlights that cost like $50 in the store, they're selling for $3. You know, everything's made in China. It's a little cheaper. But everything's free shipping if you don't mind waiting like 20 days. But, I mean, you're saving yourself, hundreds of dollars every year. And if it's late, if it's a day late, it's free.
Well, I wrote that down. I will be checking that out. That's awesome.
That's really cool. So, I don't know if you want to get down to business or...
Yeah. So what about your show? Why don't we talk about your show before we jump into some of your encounters here, you wrote me about. That way people can check it out.
Well, I don't have it up yet. What I'm doing right now, and I'll give you a little rundown. I'm so like tangled in my wires here. But, I'll give you a rundown. So I'm actually starting two. One of them I've just been recording, sound bites, and I'm trying to hook it all up together. I'm still learning how to do the sound mixing.
Yeah. So
it's basically going to be like a paranormal / conspiracy type show. I love talking about things like flat Earth because I'm not a flat earther and I think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Yeah, I agree.
So I really want to get into it and really get down to the science of it and why people are falling into this. But as well, I want to talk about my own experiences with the paranormal, with ghosts. And I want people to, just like sort of like what you're doing, you get people to call in and write their stories to you. I don't want to fall into this pit of I've seen so many, I listen to so many that are just people who call in and they basically play these calls back to back. I think it's a little boring. So I want to have people who are educated in this type of field to actually call in and discuss the science with me. So I'm doing my research on who to speak to and where the best people are to contact so that I can keep it going, keep it exciting all the time. So that's more or less what I'm doing with the one. That's just going to be me by myself, basically. Uh-huh. And the other one is it's more comedic. So me and my friend John, I've known him since, it's been 32 years we've been friends. And every time there's a UFC event on, we get together and we'll have a couple of drinks and we just shoot the shit. We discuss, what we think we know. We don't know really much about any fighters. We don't know any of the professional statistics or anything like that. So the show is going to be called Lame Man's MMA. And it's basically just us sitting around either during an event or after an event, talking about what we saw, what we think, and just shooting the shit. Just basically recording our conversations.
And are you guys going to comment on like Conor McGregor's whatever fur coat he might walk out in, or
pretty much, yeah.
or what words he has to say for sponsorship, or just anything and everything, right?
Exactly, and none of it's researched. We're not going to have facts on a sheet and say, oh yeah, so when he was 18, he did. We don't know about this stuff. We don't really care to know. We're there to basically just see. We're there for the entertainment of it.
Yeah.
I don't care about facts. I don't care what school he went to or how many years he practiced. I want to talk about, he went in there, he got his ass kicked. Look at the mouse over his eye.
That's all that matters at the end of the day when you're in the ring there.
Exactly, and by the end of the podcast, when you're, 4 or 5 beers in, I'm kind of interested to see where it's going to go there. So that's pretty much it. And I did record a demo. I don't even know if it would come up. No, I don't think it. I don't even have it on this computer, I don't believe.
Okay, well, if you have anything like that, just send it to me afterward, and then I can always plug it into your episode. That way people have it. What about did you want to say the name of your paranormal conspiracy show, or do you not have that quite yet?
I don't even have that yet. I've literally been staying up till, I'm running out of steam during the day. 6 o'clock I'm having naps, and then I'm up till 4 in the morning because I sit downstairs in my living room, I put on some creepy music, and I just start talking. And, I do a little bit of research there. So I'm just recording sound bites, and then I'm just going to take everything and I'm going to sort of cram it all together and see what I get. And until then, I'm going to keep it quiet for now. Because I really don't know. It might sound like shit when I'm done.
No, surely it'll be great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that. Very cool. I like the impromptu nature of the MMA one that you have coming out with your friend. That sounds like it'll be fun.
Oh, I think it will. Because we listen to Joe Rogan. We listen to him, and there's one called Fighter and the Kid, and it's very fact based, and it does get boring because it's just like you're reading off a paper. We're just two guys, and making each other laugh, and I think it'll be good. I think it'll really work out.
Yeah, send me all those goods when they do come out, and I know the paranormal one will come out with the name and everything. But when it does, send me that, and I'll be happy to share it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. And can I tell you a secret? I don't know if you know about this. Have you ever heard of it? The 19 hertz frequency.
Is that the low frequency stuff?
Yeah. So it's actually called the fearing frequency. And what I found out is anytime you are watching, a scary movie, the ghost stories, like the Ghost Adventures, whatever it might be, they have this. I hope this sound doesn't come up. 19 hertz frequency. They have this thing playing in the background. You can't actually hear it, but it's always there. And what it does is it creates goosebumps. It creates the feeling that somebody's behind you all the time, and it's really, really. I'm just going to try and put it on, and I'll.
Let's just do a little test.
There's a Red Lobster commercial.
Oh, don't even get. We need some biscuits now from the Red Lobster. Oh. That's all I want to eat there.
You do know you can buy those at home, right?
I know. I heard about that. I wonder if it'd be the same at all.
I think so. It's basically like Bisquick and garlic.
Oh God, it's just a little ball of heaven, I think.
It really is.
So what you're saying is I need to pull up a loop of 19 megahertz and just plop it in the background of all my shows that are.
That's it.
Yeah.
I have it on right now.
Okay.
And already just the hairs on the back of my neck stood up immediately.
That's
now,
nuts.
I don't know.
Let's leave it running. I wonder if it'll bleed into the recording.
That'd be really cool.
We'll just leave it running and see.
It's like a wave. I don't know because so I got goosebumps and the hair is sticking up on the back of my neck. It's the coolest thing in the world.
Are you just playing it on your computer, or is it like on your phone next to you?
It's on YouTube, so I would assume.
Let me just pull it up really quick, and I will play it as well. We'll just do a little test here and see if
even better.
People later on write in and go, "Oh my God, I felt something." Because I think my buddy Clyde, I keep dropping his name, but I've been listening to him so much lately, but he was talking about some low frequency stuff.
It's incredible how this stuff can impact you so much without even realizing it. And this is why, because I really enjoy watching these shows. Ghost Adventures is funny because like Aaron, he's the cameraman.
Yeah. Sorry, some guy started talking in an ad. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. And you know, he's entertaining. I used to follow him on Instagram, and they're not scary shows to me, but there's always that thing. There's always that in the background. You're going, why do I feel like I'm scared? I feel like I gotta look over my shoulder when I'm walking down the hall.
Right.
You know? So that's why I plan on having these as well. Let me see here.
Yeah, I see your link. Let me see, because I don't think if I play the link through there, if it'll. Well, maybe it will.
Hey, Mike.
Let's just give it a shot, just for shits and giggles. Here we go. All right, that'll pop up in the background. There might be an ad. No, there's not. Awesome.
Very cool.
You're right. You can't hear a darn thing.
No, it's at most just like a hum in the background.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Oh yeah, I hear kind of like a little like that.
Yeah, and that's pretty much
running just for fun. That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that. Very good little tip there.
Yeah, and it works. I think people will just get that little bit extra. Go, oh my God, why am I looking behind me?
I'm so stressed, and now I'm really freaked out. I can't go to sleep. That's exactly what I'm going for. So yeah.
There's a frequency for that too. For stress. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, dude, that infrasound. I mean, I know that they use that for military purposes, and they don't talk about it as much. You don't hear about that as much as like the Panzers or the howitzer guns or anything. But I know they have some pretty gnarly things that can, liquefy your insides and explode organs and all sorts of cool stuff. I think that's pretty neat.
I've heard that the technology the military has at any time is 10 to 20 years ahead of what we see and what we know about.
That's so cool.
Which is, it's terrifying at the same time.
Yeah. Which somebody posted. Well, it's been all over. Everybody's posting. They took a picture of something, I think it was at Area 51 or whatever it might have been, and it looked close to, it's like a more badass version of the stealth, to where the wings that go out laterally are tucked a little bit more to the back of it, and it was all white, and they're all like, oh, alien ships at Area 51, and somebody just simply types in underneath drone, and you're thinking, yeah, dude, it's probably a drone, or it's they have that new Raider aircraft that they're supposed to be testing, so yeah, I'm like, it's always it's aliens, right? It's Giorgio Tsoukalos, aliens.
There are too many people who want it so bad that they will, anything new that they don't understand, it's aliens immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer myself. I mean, I look up at the skies after, I've watched the X-Files. I've done it my whole life. I remember being a kid. Me and my dad would, after X-Files was over, we'd go outside. We'd stargaze. I had a telescope. We'd just look to the sky and go, I wonder, But there's one thing to be reasonable, and then there's one thing to just be like, everything can't be aliens. So.
Yeah. It's either aliens or demons, or they're both the same thing, and then you really get into some bonkers talk, which is a little bit too much for me, but I don't know.
It's when you just smile and
it's
nod.
Fun. It's fun to talk about anyway. Like the flat Earth, which I'm so with you. I'm like, really, guys, really?
I joined just for fun, just to see what they were talking about.
Oh boy.
The ridiculousness of believing there's a dome. The sun is only like a couple miles away from us, and it doesn't leave the dome.
Oh.
And we can't leave the Earth because there's an ice wall around the entire Earth, and it's guarded heavily by the military.
Oh, that's why no one's ever filmed it. So it's just like the Truman Show.
Yeah, exactly. So I think And there's no reasoning with them. There's no reasoning with them at all. So
there's no reasoning. Yeah, I could see that.
No.
Would be entertaining just to join a group to see what the hell they're saying.
Oh yeah, go on Facebook and do it.
There's an ice wall? That's what it is?
Yeah.
That's at the edge of this flat area.
That's right, and nobody's gone beyond it, because if you go beyond it, you'll get shot. They'll kill you. Yeah, and there's a treaty. And the thing is, so there really is a treaty in Antarctica by the UN and all the countries. The treaty is basically that there will be no fighting and no wars over the land. It belongs to everybody and nobody. Nobody's going to colonize it. In a sense, nobody's going to claim it as theirs. It's there, and that's what the treaty says. But not according to these people. The treaty is like, whatever they found there, they've agreed that they will keep people out, and nobody will be able to go there. And if they do, we'll kill them. And it's something else. It's just, you laugh, but at the same time, you want to just grab them by the neck and go, "You're stupid. Stop it." But.
Boy, it's a good thing all the Carnival cruise lines have their GPS sets really well so that they don't have to annihilate entire ships or anything, right?
Absolutely.
All those cameras and all of those people need to be taken care of now.
And get this, too. So one of their biggest groups, the Flat Earth Society groups, made a post. And somebody caught it before they took it down and said, Flat Earth members come from all around the globe.
I bet that pissed some people off, man.
And you know what? That's it. They deleted it like really quickly. Oh shit!
That was really funny though. They come from all around. It's like
all around the globe.
Little jab there. I bet that person was promptly removed.
Oh, I'm thinking so.
Yeah, they're like, fool, go back to your the Earth is round foolishness groups. We speak the truth in these parts.
Oh, and if you get a chance to go on YouTube and look up any of their meetings, because they film their get-togethers, and it's not business suits and smart scientists. It's the guys that wear shoes on their heads and their cars are 40 different colors and dragging cans behind them. Yeah. It's something. Hey, you know what? If it makes them happy, cool. I guess that's pretty much it.
The sun is how close?
Oh, the sun is within it's tiny. It's smaller than the Earth. It's smaller than the Earth, and it travels around in a circle. And the moon is smaller than that. And apparently, if we can't go to space, it's all CGI. And NASA is lying to us. They've never been to space. Oh, it just doesn't make any sense.
Remember in the original Superman when General Zod and his two cronies got banished into the sheet of glass or crystal or whatever that was?
Yes.
They just get tossed out into space. That's what I'm imagining. I'm imagining us just kind of trapped in this little glass sheet. And then, but the sun, they say, goes around us. But we're stationary.
Exactly. Imagine a plate. So you got a circle plate, and then you put your finger just hovering over top of the upper northmost point of it, and just kind of go around the rim of the plate, and that's what the sun does. It doesn't go around and behind and under the Earth. It goes around in a circle, and that was put there by God.
Of course.
Yeah. So it all goes back to the Bible and believing in the God made the Earth and He put us in a dome and to protect us and yada yada.
But the sun is round, but we're flat.
That's right, and every other planet is round. And when I asked, I did ask this guy. I said, well, how come Mars and Venus and Pluto and all these planets are round? If they're all round, why are we flat? Well, God made our planet flat so that we could live on it.
Oh. Yeah,
because it would be impossible in Australia for people to stand up because they would fall off of the Earth. And if we were round, all the water would fall off the bottom.
I just can't do it.
You see what I mean?
Oh, man.
Because gravity doesn't exist to them. So,
my God, I'm going to get so many emails because I'm laughing about this because I know that there are flat earthers that listen to my show, and I'm really sorry. But it does, when you say it, though, out loud, it's funny.
Just imagine if I was trying to convince you of it.
Right.
So.
Well, and when you can't be reasoned with. And, hey, there's other subjects that people cannot be reasoned with as well. So it's not just the flat earthers, it's just people. So,
Absolutely. And I don't ridicule anybody who has religion. And I if that's what you want to believe, that's fine. It's just like, I wouldn't say, well, you believe in, and I've seen the arguments, you believe in this crazy, all-powerful being who lives in the sky. Well, I'm going to tell you, the stories that I've experienced about things that I have seen or haven't seen and experienced that are basically, I'm trying to describe the same thing, this unseen power that had an effect on me. So, I mean, I guess it's the same beliefs just sort of in a different way, because I don't believe in one all-powerful being who controls everything. I just don't. I believe if that did exist, there wouldn't be childhood cancers and hunger and, famine and wars. But again, I don't really understand religion that much. I didn't grow up with it. So that's kind of where I stand. I don't want to judge people on their beliefs, but at the same time, I want people to really think about it and go, do you honestly believe that we live on a dinner plate with a glass dome over top? You know? I don't know if I'm making sense there.
No, you totally do. There was a video that I posted, actually. I think it was in the End of the Fray group, where this kid, he's on YouTube. He's just out in front of his garage or something. It was even at night. I'm like, can't you at least film during the day? And he has a dinner plate, and he goes, here's why, this proves that the earth is flat. Here's why Houston flooded. And he pours the water on the plate, and he's like, boom, like mic drop. And then he pours water over a lemon, and he's like, obviously, okay, yeah.
Proven.
I'm like, oh, wow, my mind is so blown. Thank you for explaining that to me. And then I found it. I Googled an image of a lemon on a plate, and I'm like, what do you do now? Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
I mean, really? That's why Houston flooded. It does, because we live on a flat surface. My God, thank you, sir, for blowing my mind and teaching me everything I needed to know about where we live.
Exactly. What the thing is, I guess, the whole. I'm trying not to laugh at that. The whole thing is gravity. Like they're trying so hard to disprove gravity, and that's why they use those models. Going, well, look, if you pour water on this ball of this lemon, it falls off the side. Well, it doesn't work that way, because gravity, we get pulled towards the center of our planet. Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson, he actually made a statement, and it was sort of a model of gravity. So if you think about it again, you got this flat plane. So we're looking one way or the other. If gravity, what they do believe is supposed to be gravity. Gravity pulls you to the center of the largest object. That's the way that works, I suppose. Now, the further you get away from the center of your flat plane, the harder you're going to be pulled back towards that center. So by the time you get to the end of the Earth, if you were to climb that ice wall and stand on it, you wouldn't be able to stand straight up and down. You'd be standing looking over the edge straight down. You'd be completely parallel with the floor, with the ground.
Right.
And so when it was, it was presented to them that might be the actual case, they really didn't have anything to say. Well, that's just not the way it works, and that's just not the way that God made it.
Right, exactly. They always just say, well, that's just how God made it. But how do you can't argue with that, because we can't prove it or disprove it if God did or didn't do this thing. If God is that's a whole nother subject. But as you mentioned, whatever that power may be or powers, then they're just going to say that's just how it is, because that's what God says it's supposed to do.
Exactly. And you know what? One day when my time comes, whenever that is, hey, I wouldn't mind being proved wrong to be, welcomed with open arms into a paradise, like they say.
I have one more question about the flat Earth before we get into your stuff. So thank you for letting me digress you into the flat Earth, because I find it kind of funny too. The lemons and plates and stuff. But how thick are they saying that this? If you were to take our flat Earth and you're looking straight at it, not from above, but from the side. How thick is this plane that we live on? I mean, what's the depth? Do they have any? Did God tell them how deep this flat surface might be?
I've actually never approached. I've thought about it. I've never approached it. I've never asked the question, but I'm definitely going to.
I mean, look at the Mariana Trench. How deep is that? Do they even know for sure? Miles.
We don't even know if it really exists.
That's true. God may have just, painted that part a little darker so it just looks really deep.
That's it.
It's really deep pool, really black paint.
Maybe 20 feet is the deepest the ocean goes, and we don't know it. I mean, I don't know.
That's when you're getting close to the ice wall, and then Jim Carrey pops out, and he's like, "Gotcha." Yeah.
If I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening. Oh, that's actually a really good movie too.
It's incredible. I love that movie. But I literally see my favorite part is when he's on that damn boat and he's gone way too far and he bumps the nose of the mask goes right through the damn wall. That's what I keep thinking of right now.
And that's what they're gonna do. I don't want to, because I could talk about this all night. But I guess the last thing here is that they will. Oh shoot! I just lost that thought. Shit. Yes. So upon, discussing things with them and having all their claims, a lot of people have asked, well, why don't all you people get a fund together, send up a weather balloon or send up a rocket or make an expedition out to the ice wall and get the proof that you need so that, nobody can dispute it anymore. Prove everybody wrong. Prove everybody that NASA is actually lying to us, and that the governments are in this big agreement that nobody can go here. Do something to prove, and nobody will. There was one guy who was going to blast himself off in a rocket just to prove, with a homemade rocket.
Gosh. Oh, homemade! Oh my good
homemade.
Lord!
Just to prove that the Earth was flat. He was going to get up, I guess, as high as he could and take a picture and, show that it is actually flat.
Well, just like the guy, the Red Bull, the highest jump ever, by just a single person jumping out of a damn plane, and he had the oxygen and all this crazy suit. And,
that's right.
You're like, you can see the curvature of the Earth. But, of course, everyone goes, oh, it's a composite, it's Photoshop. And you're like, they have an answer for everything,
Exactly.
What about this? There are private satellites that have been sent up into space, beyond even just Elon Musk and billionaires like that. But in fact, I keep meaning to get these guys on. I'm like only a year overdue. Sorry, guys, if you're listening. But the CubeSat guys. So that would mean that all of those people. Okay, so it's not just NASA. It's not just the ESA or Russia and all these other people. It would have to be all of these people in on this, right?
Absolutely, and that's what doesn't make sense.
How do you explain that? They're all getting paid off, or there are no satellites up there? How is that being explained?
It's CGI. It's all CGI.
Yeah.
That's what it always comes down to. And if you go into any group on Facebook and you look at it, people will ask those exact questions, and their answers are always CGI.
Oh my gosh.
We're being fooled. So that's when you just kind of go, okay, I'm going to log off and do something else.
And the ice wall. So how is the ice wall staying an ice wall all this time? And how did it get there? How is it maintained?
It's apparently humongous because it surrounds. Remember, when you're looking at a map or take a globe and squash it flat. Now the ice wall goes around at the ends of the ocean, the entire thing. I don't know how high it is. I don't believe anybody's ever said it. Somebody's been passing around pictures of it was actually from what was it from? Game of Thrones. There's a picture from Game of Thrones of this great big ice wall, and they're passing that off as an actual photo of the ice wall.
No, it's from Game of Thrones.
It's from Game of Thrones.
Up where the Castle Black is, the wall. They're saying that's the. Oh my God, that is too fitting. Ice
wall. I'm looking it up right now. There's
there's the. Oh my.
There.
Yeah, send that to me. I have to see that. That's some special sauce right there. GOT ice wall. Like, we found it, Eureka. No, homie, you would be dead, obviously. If you saw that, that would be the last thing you saw, because there's a whole group of the military out there to take your head off.
That's right. They're snipers. Oh, my God.
There's just more people that have to be in on this. You got satellites. You got the space agencies. You got the guys guarding the ice wall. Oh, man.
And there's no explanation. There's no explanation as to why. And that's the biggest kick in the ass for me. Well, why are they doing this? Where the hell did it just go?
Or do they have like those big, those old freezers that have like the metal the metal tubes running through them and the squiggly lines, and then everything gets frozen around it, right? And you have to like bang all that shit off of there. Like, is that how they're maintaining the ice wall? They have these massive cooling systems inside, or do they have? I'm just trying to envision the ice wall. That's a feat of engineering right there.
It really is.
Because we made the ice wall, right? Not God. I mean, is that? Are they saying that we made it to protect everyone from falling off the edge?
I'm not too sure of. All I know is they've said that there's an ice wall that has to be protected at all times. So this is the picture.
I'm looking at it right now. Wait, they even have it's literal. They have the effing horses with his name just fell out of my head, and I love him. What's his name? On the damn horse. No, come on, guys.
This is what it is. This is the picture that was passed around one of the groups that I was in. So there's another one there. These are paintings.
I can't handle this right now. This is amazing.
So you're going to get a lot of angry emails.
Oh, they're going to be so pissed. I'm going to post this up, though. That picture is going in show notes, being like, well, we're screwed. Definitely flat Earth. And that's amazing. Oh, I'm learning so much about very interesting people tonight. Yeah, I'm going to get super pissed emails, but that's okay. It happens.
That's all right.
Yeah, it is. It happens. That's what happens when you touch on a touchy subject. All right.
What do you? So I've got my daughter here too. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
So this is Cheyenne, and I was going to ask you. She actually has a couple of stories. She's 11 years old, and she's a lot braver than I am.
Yeah, they usually are. I've got a 10-year-old daughter, so I totally understand that.
Absolutely. Excellent. Awesome. So you can just sit and relax for now while I talk, okay? Your gum smells awesome, by the way. No, I'm okay. I'm still having my tea. Okay, so that's pretty much the flat Earth, and that's why I want to do an episode so badly.
Oh, it sounds like it'd be like 5 episodes.
You could base a whole cast.
You might want to invite one of the people or a few of the people from that group, though, and really get their side of it first, and then have that as the jumping off point. Well,
I actually want to get the president of their whole
boom
group, because he's always open for media. He's a media whore. He really is.
Unbelievable, man. That is too funny. Thanks for entertaining all that with me, because that's news for me. I didn't know about the GOT ice wall out there. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what it is. I guess God foresaw Game of Thrones coming, and there you go.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they were able to get around the wall to film there, so must be real.
See, how could somebody get this close and there's a doorway in it even.
They're all in it. Yeah, the metal door creaking open amongst the massive ice blocks. Oh my God.
What I want to know is what's beyond it. What's beyond this wall, and why is the wall there, and what are we being protected from, or what are they protecting from us? That was blowing my mind. The ice wall, never heard of that in the flat Earth theory. That's incredible. Yep,
I have to join some of those groups.
Oh, you're in another world when you go talk to these people.
Yeah, literally, obviously. We're living on a plate, son.
All right, so I sort of made notes here. You write yours down after. Okay, so Now, of all the topics I gave you, I guess I'll just sort of go in order of how I sent them to you, I guess, if you like.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so I'll just start. You can stop me anytime and ask questions, and I'll. Okay, so the one I sent you in the email. My growing up, you know, I'm 4 years younger than my one sister. We'd always go up the street. She had friends up there, Shelly, Crystal, and Nicole. Nicole was my age. So we'd always hang out together and play up there. A lot of sleepovers just because, you know, I had the friend that was my age. So they had always told us stories about hearing things and seeing things moving in their house. And it was always very creepy staying there. This one night that they decided they were going to do a seance. Now, me being so young, I didn't even know what that was. But they we all sat around a table, they lit some candles, we all joined hands, and it was the scariest sounding thing I've ever heard because they all started repeating, "We open the gates to, you know, to anyone who wants to talk to us." Mm. And to me, I think that's dangerous because of what I believe in. I think it's really dangerous to just kind of like open these walls, pull back the veil, and go, "Hey, if you're here, come talk to us." Especially a bunch of kids. So they do that, and a lot of a lot of really weird things were happening. Everybody's getting very, very spooked. Everybody's getting very creeped out. We start hearing, you know, noises upstairs. We start hearing banging around. So we all get a little creeped out. I guess the biggest, scariest part of this, the whole night was when they jumped on the Ouija board and they started talking to whoever was there. You know, everybody's very skeptical because the glass is moving around and everybody's pointing, "Oh, you're moving it." Well, this thing, you know, it starts talking to them and they say, you know, if there's somebody really here, at 11, make the phone ring. Because I guess we were close to 11 o'clock. Well, everybody jumps off the board and we're waiting. And I guess myself, I remember specifically sitting on the couch, just sort of in a ball, just being scared, going, "I don't want to be here. I don't want to be a part of this." And sure enough, at 11 o'clock, the phone rings. Now, what really freaks me out when I think about it now is that back then nobody had cell phones. It wasn't even a thing that existed. So when the phone rings, they pick up the phone and you could hear, you know, this just scary breathing on the other end. And I don't know if it was set up. I don't know if somebody had pre-planned that somebody was going to call at 11, but all I know is that this phone rings and we have breathing on the other end. Mm. Well, shortly after the breathing, you can hear the dog. He's running around and he's barking up the stairs. The dog's name was Jordan. Now he's upstairs and he's running around, he's barking, and then, you know, quiet. And he's walking down the stairs. As he's coming down the stairs, he's like staring up as if somebody was holding a treat for him, you know, just to get his attention, as if you were walking beside a dog or a puppy with a treat. So he's walking down the stairs. When he came into the living room, it was almost as if if you were to put a piece of glass there and the dog rubbed up against the glass, the fur goes flat. So it was as if he was rubbing up against somebody that we couldn't see. So, you know, everybody runs outside. We're all freaked out. Okay, regroup, go into the garage. Let's just go to bed. You know, maybe our minds are just playing tricks on us. So we go back in. I'm freaked out. I wanted to go home, but Crystal, she was like, "You can stay downstairs with me." Her room was right at the bottom of the stairs in the basement, or like a little inlet where her bed was. So we're sleeping, and it took me a long time to get to sleep. But when I did fall asleep, it was probably, I think it was around 3 o'clock in the morning. All of a sudden, everybody in the house wakes up because in the basement, in the laundry room, we just start hearing this bang, 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 like really loud banging. And so we jump up, and for whatever reason, I went running over there. The washer and the dryer both are in pieces because, like, my dad, he used to do all the repairs around the street, and he was trying to repair their washer and dryer. They've been going to the laundromat because they didn't work. So it's not like somebody had put something in it and turned it on. Right. It was whatever we had pissed off and stirred up that night was, I guess they weren't really satisfied with the fact that we had just gone to bed and forgot about them. Mm-hmm. So my belief is they were making themselves known, that they were unhappy that we had sort of dismissed them so easily. But yeah, we never did go back to the house. They moved out a very, very short time afterwards. And I still do. I talk to Nicole and Crystal sometimes, and the story still comes up. Like, we don't know what it was that was banging on the washer and dryer. We don't know what it was that made the phone call, but the house. Oops, I hit the mic there. Sorry. The house itself, it was sold, bought and sold a few different times, more than any other house in the neighborhood. So
that's
I'm just
slightly
wondering,
nefarious too.
Right? Like I'd say every year and a half to 2 years, it goes up for sale.
Have you spoken to any of the tenants that have been there after?
I haven't. I did. I moved away for quite a while from where I live now. But that is something that I do have in my near future, that I'd like to speak to the tenants, whoever are the owners, and maybe get in there and try again. Like, hey, remember me?
Yeah, that would be good fodder for your new show coming up.
I agree.
Didn't at one point when you guys were on the Ouija board before the phone rang, didn't it actually say I'm upstairs? Like, you guys broke the seance circle or something, and then that's when you guys jumped on the Ouija board to maybe close out the session. I think one of the sisters said, "Oh, that's not good. We just broke the circle." And then the Ouija board was like, "I'm upstairs," and that's when the dog started to kind of act funny, right?
Freaked out. That's right. I've totally left out details. My bad.
That's okay.
But it's so much easier to write details when you're typing them out.
Yes,
You remember.
it is.
But yes, and I'm trying to remember now, because I know something happened to the Ouija board afterwards. Now, I'm trying to remember what they did with it. Because we had been watching a lot of horror movies. There was, I don't know if you remember the movie. It was called House. There was
yes.
I guess the Exorcist, Poltergeist, those were big movies. Mm-hmm. And I believe what they had done was they had broken afterwards the Ouija board in half and buried it in the backyard. So I'm almost curious to know if it's still back there, if it hasn't dissolved by now. It's been
tape that sucker up and use it. That thing would be incredible.
I would send it to you and you can use it. I'm terrified.
I bet Cheyenne's like, yeah, no, we're not going to bring that in the house. Kids are usually so much smarter about that stuff than we are too. So.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my earliest recollection of experiencing anything. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this one is, I guess not as. I'm going to go out of order here a little bit. It's not as scary as it is cool. So there's in Brampton here where I live in Canada. There's an old jail and a courthouse side by side. Now, way before I was born, 1800s to early 1900s, there was a prisoner there, and the story goes that he was put in prison. His cell was underground, but his window you could see outside. He had his yard time. I think they'd go out for a few minutes for exercise, and then he got put back in his cell. Well, his wife, who lived about 20 kilometers away with their new child, would come to visit him almost on a daily basis. So I guess because she was so far away, she didn't get to see him one day, and he was hanged in the prison. And if you can go into the jail now, or sorry, not the prison, you can go into the jail now, and they actually have it marked out in the ceiling where the gallows were, where they would hang the prisoners from. And you can stand where their feet basically scrape the floor, which is really creepy. So he was hanged. She came to visit a little later. Upon finding out that he was hanged, she ended up committing suicide. I'm not sure what happened to the baby, but she committed suicide on the premises. And the story goes that he is stuck in that cell, and she haunts the courthouse right next door. And I've never seen what people have told me, whereas if you stand on the street and you stare at the courthouse, right in the center windows, you can see her just standing there staring off into nothing. And the same for him. You can stare down into the jail cell and you'll see him pass by the window. Now, I've never seen that myself, but I did get curious one day, and I went with my camera with my very skeptical friend John, who I'm going to do the MMA podcast with, and we were taking pictures. What?
when we were there, when I almost broke my ankle, I actually saw her looking out the window.
Well, there you go. Okay, so that we're going to touch on. These things child never tells me. So when I was taking photos, we're in the dark. I like to take, I was very much into, this is quite a few years ago, very much into trying to find the orbs and mists and all these different anomalies in photos. And the strangest thing is I actually did find something in the photo of the window, and it wasn't off the glass. It was actually off to the side. And it wasn't a lens flare per se. It was a really bright blue, almost a sphere. Like it looked like a floating marble almost. So, I took that as it could be something. It could have been just a light anomaly. However, when I did go to the front, and I've been feverishly looking through my old hard drive to find this photo, I do have a picture of the upstairs window, going from one window to another. When I adjusted for light, you can see the outline of an arm reaching, from what I saw, from an arm reaching, flowing blonde hair, what looked like a blue dress, kind of flowing in the wind, and it looked like a lady sort of jumping from one window to the next, or jumping out the window. So that was
cool.
Sort of a cool experience.
Is she reported to have been wearing a blue dress that last day or one of the days?
No, and I've looked for it. There's no research. There's nothing to say what she was wearing. But I mean, I would assume that a long flowing dress, a lot of material would fit the time period of like the late 1800s to early 1900s. So unfortunately, there's nothing to say that yes, she was wearing a blue dress. But it is stated that that is the area. Those are the windows that she committed suicide. That she killed herself from.
Wow. So you do have that photo?
I do have the photo. I have to dig it out. It's on one of my hard drives. I keep all my hard drives. And as soon as I find that, I will send that to you.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to see
Absolutely. That. And when I first took it, it just almost looked like mist. So it's not manipulated anyway. It's just that I've adjusted the contrast, and the brightness and shadow, just so you can actually sort of get crisper.
Yeah.
So you didn't tell me that you saw somebody in the window.
Yeah, I did. Then you obviously forgot.
Yeah, let's get to, she's like, obviously you forgot. Yes. If she wanted to get close to the mic so I could hear really well, that'd be awesome.
Talk. Yeah, you sit on my lap. There we go.
So when we were there, I was sitting on a sign. It was the night that I broke my ankle, I think.
Well, you twisted your ankle.
Yeah, and I twisted it or something. And then I was looking up at the window, and I stared for a second, and, I blinked, and then I saw a lady. I can't remember, what she looked like, but I remember seeing a lady in the window. And then that was, I slipped somehow.
You did.
And then she disappeared.
Mm.
So maybe she was trying to, get me to not look at her.
That's possible. Mm-hmm. That's very possible. Well, I don't remember you telling me that.
Because you have no memory.
Thank you very much.
You're getting old, Dad. Welcome to the club. So, Cheyenne, obviously you got the impression, right off the bat that it was a woman that you were seeing. Is that because maybe you saw some long hair of some sort? Do you remember the color or any of the details at all?
I think it was, blonde or something.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, how about that, Dad?
She's seen more than I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad. She comes with me whenever I go out. Anywhere that I my interest has peaked, I take her with me because she shows such a strong interest in the subject. Mm-hmm. So, and I think it's good to get them into it young and remove the fear.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because me and my daughter just went out near Boulder City, Nevada, which is only about 40 miles from where I'm sitting right now. But there's supposed to be this old pet cemetery, which I love that movie, the original Stephen King Pet Cemetery. Gotta love that one.
Absolutely.
And it's supposed to be quite haunted, but it's really hard to find, and it lived up to that nefarious title because we only found unless it's been ripped up, we found part of it, or just a completely separate one. But we walked like at least 2 miles in each direction away from the truck trying to find this place, but we couldn't. But anyhow, it's very cool that you're taking her along, because my daughter is very much the same to her. She's like very into this stuff and loves to watch the TV shows, and that's neither here nor there, whatever they might be doing for the TV shows, we get it, but it's cool just to see the interest that the younger generations have, because they'll have to take over when we're having to do other things, or we get too old to be walking, amongst gravestones. And actually, Cheyenne, you said that you twisted your ankle, and I recently, just this past year, I twisted mine so bad at the trampoline park with my daughter that the doctor was like, it would have been better if you would have broken it, because it, like grew to the size of, I don't know, a massive tennis ball on the side of my ankle. That was a lot of fun, so.
That's so terrible.
Oh, it's the worst.
Sprains are so much worse than breaks.
Oh, yeah. It was a bummer. But, thanks for sharing that, Cheyenne. That's very cool. And your dad's like, I don't remember that.
I don't remember that at all. We're going to talk later about that for sure. So that sort of covers the old jail, the old courthouse. There's what is that? Okay, so I want to talk to you about the Art Council building now, which is actually just down the street from there. Mm-hmm. Now, I went there one night after reading on a website that the story goes there's an old caretaker that still, I guess, occupies the place. He died in the 1920s, so the building's been there for a long time, and all he did at the end of the day, he would clean up, the floors and make sure they don't come in. Clean up the floors, and he would, stack papers, things like that. And he always whistled while he worked. The guy was reported to have really enjoyed his job. Now, the people who work there now, or at least when I heard the story, they would leave at the end of the day. And if they had papers on the table, they'd come in the next day, and the papers would be neatly stacked. If there was garbage on the floor, it would be picked up and cleaned up. It was almost like having a free caretaker, in a sense. And people would report hearing whistling off in other rooms and in the basement of this building. So I decided to go there one day, and I'm not sure exactly. I didn't really get to stay there long, because I got the crap scared right out of me. Now, I parked my car, and I got out. I took a couple pictures of the house, and I got back in my car for a second to look at them. And I know I made some sort of a snide remark about the place, and that's when it was so sudden. Sorry, it was so sudden, all out of nowhere. It felt like somebody had taken a hammer and hit the underside of my car, and it felt like it dragged from right under my feet right to the back of the bumper.
Yikes! And
I still had one foot out of the car. I started it, in reverse, and I drove away. I got the hell out of there because what was going on? I was under attack. So I got just down the street to a convenience store, 7-Eleven, and when I got out, I looked under the car, and sure enough, my muffler had this great big dent in it, and from that down the end of the resonator, all the way down to the muffler, there was a huge scratch, like a gouge, as if a tool had it. Now, the thing is about that is I was parked. My car had sat stationary. It was in park. It was turned off. I wasn't moving. I wasn't on a rock. I hadn't teetered. So whatever happened, I think that whatever I'd said upset whoever was occupying the place.
Do you remember what you said?
I'm trying to. It was some sort of a snide remark about nobody likes their job that much to stick around for 100 years. You know what I mean?
You're right. And
that's, see, my ex-wife was there with me, and she was absolutely terrified. It was a we have to go home right now type of situation.
Well, she was in the car with you.
She was in the car with me. Yeah.
She's like, thanks for bringing me along to this, right? So what about when you got home? Did anything happen over the next couple of days that you recall?
So nothing happened. I've always been afraid of, bringing something home, something following me, but I didn't go back for quite a while. I did go back recently with my daughter, and unfortunately we didn't see anything. We didn't hear anything. We didn't feel anything. What I want to do is I want to actually go and speak to the people who are working there now, and just I want to find out if there's anything going on still. But nothing ever came after that. So it was sort of a one-time, one-off, holy shit kind of experience.
Yeah, I think I remember talking to Ian Gibbs about something where there was maybe a caretaker or a janitor or something that was supposed to be still haunting a place, and where you're like, that's the kind of ghost that I need at my house, where he just, starts to clean and everything's tidy. Although when you're laying in bed, especially if you're like home alone, or you don't have whistlers in the house and you just hear phantom whistling, I'd be like, I'm out. That is way too creepy.
Oh yeah. Oh, big time. Big time. Footprints or footsteps can be explained. Creaking can be explained.
Yeah.
Whistling an old show tune, 1910.
Yeah. No.
Not quite.
Not gonna sleep for a long time after that.
No, and at the same time, everybody's reporting, giving their side of the story, saying, oh, this guy's so nice, he seems very friendly. Well, he wasn't very friendly with me, So I'm glad he hit my car and not my legs.
Yeah, I can imagine like that old folk tale, like from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, was one that covered this, but the hook, right? Like you hear the hook on the side, and then the hook is hanging on the door handle when they get out of the car. You're like, oh, right. Those are incredible stories. Well, just like in your Ouija board encounter at your neighbor's house, it really ramped up around 3 a.m., right? Between 3 and 3:30, the old witching hour, when things are supposed to be a little bit thinner around there for things to crawl through.
That's right. And that's one of the stories I'm going to tell you, is it happened at that time. And it's always the time. Maybe it's in my head. You know how we set these alarm clocks in our brain?
Yeah.
I always seem to wake up around that time, and I
do too, and it drives me nuts. It's been happening a lot more lately, and it's really ticking me off because, and in fact, it's gotten so bad that when I wake up, I'm like, well, it's 3 something. Let me check, and sure as shit, it's 3 something, and I'm really getting tired of it.
That's right, and it's almost, and from what I've heard is that when you're continually waking up, apparently it could be somebody trying to talk to you, trying to reach you.
Right. That's what I heard too.
But logically speaking, I mean, when you get up so many times at a certain hour, your body just sort of automatically sets an alarm.
Right.
So I think it also goes along with that. I try to remain a healthy skeptic at the same time being a complete believer, if you know what I mean. I try to keep a good balance.
Gery, what you're saying is you don't believe that little meme where it's the same thing that we're talking about, where you wake up at 3 a.m. and that's because there's like some golem-looking thing sitting at the edge of your bed. Have you seen that?
I have seen that.
Someone it's like some little golem thing like crouched at the end of your bed, and that's because something's staring at you, and you're like, sweet baby Jesus, no.
It's like, why does that have to be staring at you?
Right, yeah, that's what it is. That's why it's a 3 a.m. thing. No. It's a flat earther staring at us. That would be really scary.
That'd be the worst, because I don't have the energy or the mental power at that time to argue.
I know, you're like, dude, just let me get a couple more hours before we get into this ice wall bullshit, okay?
Oh, I know.
Oh, man.
I'm still waiting for when I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning for because I always look over, the whole shadow people, which I think is totally intriguing to me. But my house coat hangs on the back of my door, and I'm 6'2", so it's a big house coat. And whenever I look over it, I'm just waiting for the day that it leaves the door and starts walking over
something's
towards
filling it. Yeah. You're like,
exactly.
Crap.
I'll never wear it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically that was sort of my story of the Art Council building. And from there, I'll take you to okay, so this is a good one. This one I've actually experienced this twice. The first time was a very scary. The second time was almost expected. I was driving in my truck. I was on the highway. Here in Brampton, we have the 410 highway, goes north and south. So I was heading north, heading home. In my truck, I can see, pretty much all the cars I can see in people's windows. In my rearview mirror, it was a gray Toyota. I remember that. It was a small car. I believe it was a Corolla. And there's a lady, an Asian lady. She's driving. And in the passenger seat, her daughter was there. And she said something to her mom, and then she got really angry, and she's yelling at her mom, and she's like really, really laying into her mom. And all the while, the mom is just calm, staring forward, almost not even acknowledging her. That car comes up and passes by me. When I look over, because I'm like, man, this kid's insane. There's nobody in the passenger seat. There's nobody there. It's the mom driving straight forward, looking forward, and there's nobody in the back. The seat's not laid back.
Oh,
it's
my
not,
God.
You know, and it immediately it was just like, if you could imagine the feeling, you know, have you seen Insidious? You know, the violins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was like that in my ear, you know, like wee, wee, wee. And I'm going, oh my God, what did I just see? You know, so the only I come to try to think about it, going, well, maybe how can I explain this? I guarantee you have heard about this. Sometimes when people die, they don't know they die, so they're almost stuck in a waking dream. So what I'm thinking is maybe this young girl died, and she was, you know, got into her mom's car with her, and they were driving, and she couldn't understand why her mom wasn't talking, why she wasn't responding to her.
I'm getting upset and trying to throw a fit and being like, why don't you pay attention to me? And that's what you were seeing.
That's what I was seeing, and I was seeing it in my mirror. But when she came up alongside, there was nobody there, and that was the hair raising, you know, oh my God, my teeth hurt, that was so scary kind of experience.
God.
Now the thing is, that happened to me again. Now there was no freaking out. It was just an old man sitting in the passenger seat. There was an old man driving, and it was just an old guy sitting there. And I'm very observant when I drive. I look at people, and when I looked over again, sure enough, he was gone. It was just the old man driving.
And it was the same thing to where you saw it in your rearview mirror. In my
rearview mirror, yeah.
And that ties in again with the whole mirror thing. What's with the mirrors, but then you can't see it with your own eyes. That's kind of different.
And that's why when I get up at 3 a.m. to go get to get a drink in the mirror, I don't like to put my head down to drink, because what am I going to see when I look? I've seen enough movies to know away. That's when something pops up.
You don't want to try Bloody Mary then, right?
Oh no!
I'm all set with that.
No, As kids, you know, nobody was brave enough to go through the whole Bloody Mary thing.
You know what game I tried when I was a kid? Maybe it's not a game, maybe, you know, but that's the word I use. Is light as a feather, stiff as a board, and that crap worked.
It does work. We used to do that same thing all the time with the McDonald's sisters up the street. The same with the haunted house.
Oh yeah, the same family. Yeah, that's. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to begin to explain that. Like the intent and the will, sure, but somebody still weighs X amount of pounds, and you've got like 2 fingers from each hand underneath them, and there's only like 3 of you. How does that work?
Not only that, but the person, in order to lift somebody like that, they have to literally be stiff as a board. Otherwise, your legs are going to fall over, your butt's going to fall down through.
Right.
Right.
So it worked for you too?
It did work for us. It was incredible.
I haven't done that in a long time, but now that I say it, I'm kind of like, I kind of want to try that again. It kind of has to be sort of like doing a seance, I would suppose, but kind of like tapping into that same vein, right? But
could be.
Sorry, I got you off on track. So, okay, so you see the old man, and it was the exact same situation to where
exact same situation.
And they went to pass you, and the passenger is gone.
Passenger's gone. Just
very interesting.
And I look forward. It's such an interesting thing. I'm looking for it all the time now. You know what I mean? Every time I see somebody in my rearview mirror, I go, "Is this the one? Am I going to see something?" And then I go, "Well, why am I seeing that?"
Well, right? I was just going to say, well, why do you think you see those things?
Funny you ask. I have a friend named Leilani. And when I first met her years ago, she was afraid to tell me because she thought I'd make fun of her. But her claim is that she is Cheyenne wrote down that you are the chosen one. I'm not. I'm the chosen one.
Yeah, well, you start counseling me too then, because. Yeah,
I wish advice. I knew.
Yeah.
Well, what she said was that she's intuitive. And her claim was that her grandmother is like her guide. She died a long time ago, and anytime, like, people come to talk to her all the time, spirits and ghosts, and I was a little skeptical. Okay, well, I don't know how you'd ever prove that to somebody other than just saying that you are. So essentially, she told me that she sees in me an ability to, I guess, sort of pull energy from people, and I get I almost feed off emotions. And I said, I don't know about that. I've never heard of that, but okay, I'll take it. So maybe the emotions of somebody who died in the past, maybe if they're near me, I can see that. I don't know. I don't know how any of that stuff works. So as ridiculous as it might sound, it might be something that's true for all I know. And that I'm not going to tell her story yet, but where are we? Okay, so this one really freaked me out. The apartment, when we were living in an apartment, this is another 3 o'clock episode. I got up, I went to the kitchen, but I just remember when I was on my way to the kitchen, I just had this overwhelming feeling that, like, if you put your hands up to your ears, you can sense the disturbance of the air, the sound. You know that your hands are beside your ears, regardless of whether you can see them or not. Just like if somebody's sneaking up behind you, that sixth sense that we all have. I just had this feeling that there was something on me, like almost on my shoulders the whole time that I was walking down the hall. I go into the kitchen, I take my drink of water, and when I turn towards my dining room, I look out into the dining room, and there I am standing there. Like, it's me. And I remember I freaked. I threw my cup of water, and I ran, out of the kitchen and back to my bed. And I kind of sat there for a second going, what the F just happened? Laid down. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I jumped back up, and I was thirsty again. So I thought, okay, maybe that was a dream. So I got up. I walked out into the the hallway down to the kitchen. The feeling was gone, the scared feeling. I mean, I was a little apprehensive. When I get there, my cup was on the ground, the floor was wet, but there was nothing there. So I go, did I come out, did I sleepwalk when I came out here? Did I really see what I think I saw? And when I researched doppelgangers later on, it really freaked me out, because apparently when people see their doppelgangers, it's a sign that they're about to die.
That's comforting.
Yeah. Now, this happened quite a few years ago, and I'm still here, so
right.
I'm willing to admit maybe it was a dream.
Was it wearing the same thing? The exact same thing that you had on?
My boxers.
That's what it had on, the exact same thing. Was it moving or reacting to you?
Just standing in the doorway staring at me.
Ugh.
And it was for literally 5 seconds, and then reaction was just I threw my cup.
Yeah.
And ran.
I could see that. Do you have a history of sleepwalking?
No, that's the thing, is I do. When I was a kid, I sleptwalked all the time. I always talk in my sleep. But I haven't sleptwalked probably since I was, maybe 10 or 11 years old. So, I don't pass that off as maybe it is, maybe I was dreaming. Either way, whatever the hell it was, it scared the crap out of me.
Yeah. See, I mean, let's just, if you want to assume it was just a figment of your half asleep and half awake imagination, why the hell did your brain do that to you? That was really screwed up.
I had never, even from what I can remember, it's not something I had looked into. Not something I'd researched.
Yeah. Doppelgangers
weren't a thing. Doppelgangers were. I learned about doppelgangers from the Vampire Diaries.
Right. Yeah. That's just so wrong. I would lose my if I saw that. If I saw myself standing there staring at me. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's just done. That was around 3 a.m. as well.
That was about a 3 o'clock hour. Yeah. And it's been happening for years. And my wife. She says it too. Like, you always wake up like the same time, because I'm bigger. I make the bed move when I get out of bed, so she always wakes up.
Right.
But yeah, I've been waking up the same time almost every single night for years.
But you've never seen yourself again.
Not once. Thank God.
I mean, do you get up a lot, or you just move around in the bed around 3 a.m.?
No, I do. When I get up, I'll go get a drink.
Okay.
I'll go to the bathroom, get a drink. Sometimes I'll go downstairs. If I can't get back to sleep, I'll make a tea or something like that. And I've never seen anything like it again. I'm always apprehensive because of the hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But that's that. Now, going along with that, in the same apartment building, this is one time when the elevators were out of service, and I was coming up the stairs because we lived on it was the 6th floor. It was the 6th floor. I was coming up the stairs, and I think it was around the 3rd floor, and I heard footsteps. You heard footsteps going through the stairs because everybody was using them, right? So I'm coming up the stairs, and I heard it sounded like somebody running down the stairs, and so they're coming really fast. I move aside. All of a sudden, tap 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 tap. These footsteps go. Right, they come down the stairs, they go right past me, right down the stairs, and keep going. But there's nobody there.
Oh,
there's
heck
nobody there. And again, it was one of those, cue the violins, hair in the back of your neck. What the hell was that?
Were these the metal stairs? Like really super loud metal ones that they put in the building sometimes? They're
concrete and they had a metal face on them. So, I mean, it was loud enough.
Yeah.
But people, and the thing is, I wasn't the first person to ever report people hearing about somebody coming up and down those stairs.
Wow. It ran right by you?
It literally, I heard it. I heard something running. I got, just off to the side. I thought somebody was going to come flying around the corner. The footstep sounds came, and there was nobody attached to the footsteps.
Did you feel any, not that you do usually with a real person, but any kind of a breeze or, any sensation? There was
nothing. There was no cold. There was no heat. There was no wind. There was just the sound, and then the fear of oh my god.
Did you hear it going down all the rest of the steps until
it just kept going.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
But there was no door slam. There was no door opening. There was it just kept going down the stairs.
What's the story then with the building? Did you ever find out why maybe an apparition or a ghost or whatever you want to call it would be running down the stairs like that?
Okay, so here is one of my theories, and there is a story that years ago, because the building was built in the 70s, that sometime in the late 70s, a little boy had hung himself. Yeah. A 9-year-old boy had hung himself from one of the stairwells, from the railing. Why, I don't know. I don't have a backstory on it, but that's what I was told by some residents that live there. That no, it wasn't Tony. Some of the residents have been there, forever, and they remember that there was a little boy who had hung himself, and it was ever since then that people had said they've heard footsteps in the hallways, open the door, and there's nobody there.
Oh. Did you find corroborating evidence as far as any news reports or death records that you could see in anything you looked up or?
I hate to be so disappointing, but no, I really didn't.
No, that's okay. Sometimes that's all we have is these the circumstantial evidence and people's stories. So that's okay. That's really sad to think of a 9-year-old doing that kind of a thing, but it does happen.
But it makes me, it does happen, and it's in the news a lot, and it's really depressing.
Yeah, it is so sad. Yeah. Wow.
But
okay. That does corroborate with the footsteps and whatever else might be going on in the building.
And a kid, the kids that do, the kids that I can see, they would run up and down the stairs all the time and come flying around the corners, and so it's very possible that it could have been this kid that could have been my experience, as a lot of people in the building had said, you'll hear someone running down the halls, kids running down the halls, you open the door and there's nothing there.
Is that building near where you guys are now?
No, it's about 25 minutes away.
Do you think you might go back there for your show and check it out?
Yes, absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
Cool. That is really cool. As sad as those stories are, that's the kind of thing that gives me chills. How do you explain a full-on steps down numerous stairs all the way down until you couldn't hear it anymore? How do you even begin to explain that?
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, that's okay.
It sucks the breath out of you. It scares you so bad, but at the same time you're going, That was really cool.
Really cool, yeah. And as sad as it is to think of a 9-year-old being stuck in a damn stairwell after he already killed himself. I mean, there's nothing sadder than that, but at the same time, you're like, that was freaking cool. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I'm like, I would love for that to happen. To me, I'm always going to these cool places. I'm like, well, I was just laughing about that. I'm like, I must be the most cleansed person in the world. Not that I'm holy, of course, but I'm like, nothing ever happens to me. I'm always whining about that, you know. But there's a huge difference between waking up in your own home and seeing this, and then going to a location and having something cool happen to kind of verify what you've been so interested in for that many years. So very cool. I will be looking out for that one. That was a cool story.
I feel it's cool because I'm glad that I can experience these things. At the same time, if I had the choice, I really don't want to see something. I do and I don't.
Yeah, you know? I know. I get it. I totally do.
Now, if it's all right, now Cheyenne has a story because her and we volunteer on a horse ranch. Now I'll give you a backstory and she'll tell you her experience. The horse ranch that we work at, it's called Double Bar, and it's in Brampton here. Now, the story with that place is years and years, about 55 years ago. It used to be a thoroughbred farm, so they bred and trained racehorses. Mm-hmm. Well, there was a massive fire, and the whole place burned down, and all the horses that were there, they died in the fire. And people have reported, and even myself, you feel kind of eerie when you're in there, but people have reported hearing in the arena horses running around, and the horses are not out there. Now, Cheyenne can tell you her account of what she experienced. Go ahead, kid.
Okay, so one of my favorite horses, was it Conquest or Mocha?
You like them both.
I think he was Mocha because she's closer to the arena.
Yes, she's right beside the arena.
Yeah, so I was helping clean out her stall, and then I heard something running in between the stalls that aren't being used in the back.
Aisle, yeah.
I heard something running there, and it felt like it was coming towards me, so I had to run inside of the thing with the horse.
Yeah.
Wow.
And hide behind her because I felt and heard like something was going to crash into us.
Wow. I mean, that's a huge reaction to have if you really did think that a massive animal was running towards you, right? You had to protect yourself.
And I felt wind, too.
Oh, wow.
And all the doors were closed.
Yeah.
That is a cool story.
We do. We seal up the barn when we're in there.
Yeah, right.
It's the cold, the wind comes through, the horses don't like it, they spook. And yeah, so
you heard a full-on gallop, and you're like, oh, boy, I'm going to get kind of smushed here. I need to get out of the way.
Even the dogs, I think they were there that night or something. Or they were outside, and I heard them, move to the side.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of energy apparently there, and when I think I was in the office when that happened,
with the kitties.
That's right, because we had 2 new cats there, and she came in and told me what had happened, and it was so weird because that's the same kind of account that other people have of being there, is that there's this energy that will just almost blow right through you, and you just know that it was one of these thoroughbreds. Coming and flying right past you.
Cheyenne, how did you feel about that, though? I mean, did that scare you pretty badly? Or do you think it was pretty cool?
It was kind of scary, but kind of cool and kind of sad at the same time. Because, it took a minute for me to notice, that I wasn't sleeping. And then, even the horse was scared. And then, yeah. And then, it was actually more scary than anything.
Yeah, I can see that. How many of the horses died? Do you guys have a number on that?
How many stalls are there?
No, there was many more stalls. This is the new building that's there. It's old now, but from the number that I have was over 80 horses.
Oh gosh, that's horrible.
Oh, it was a very active barn.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
I have a huge soft spot for animals. I like people a lot less sometimes, so. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, because animals we need to take care of them. That's what we're here for. So, not everybody feels like that, but that's horrible. So over 80 horses died. That's.
Yeah. And that's when they ended up selling the farm. It was rebuilt, and Double Bar took over, I guess, a few years afterwards.
But obviously the new stables are built on top of where the old ones were?
That's correct.
Is any of the... I mean, it was a fire, so, I mean, probably not. But was any of the original wood or anything saved to repurpose for the new stable?
The original foundation was there, is still there. It's cracked. It's really old. Every year it moves a little more, and there's, larger cracks. There is an existing barn next door that didn't burn, that was there, that was, some horses were kept in there at some point. But it is the original barn that was on the property. Now, again, it didn't burn, and I don't believe any of the horses were stored there at the time, because from what I was told was that all the horses perished in the fire. What was that? Reno was. Oh yeah, well, say it. There you go.
Yeah. One of my other favorite horses, his name is Reno, and I guess he got affected by a disease that was there.
He's blind for about 10 years now.
Aww.
And he was at the other side, and I guess I don't think he heard it, but I guess he felt it, because he started, shuffling around.
Quite a bit in a stall there.
Oh, yeah, and isn't that interesting, because even people that are blind, all their other senses are heightened, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they say that everything holds energy. So if the original barn is there, especially if the original foundation is there, cracked or not, I would say that, it's definitely got some things holding on there. That's really sad.
Oh, absolutely. And we have, a lot of horses that I've known from when I was a kid that were there have perished. They've passed on, and they, for the most part, they stay on the property. They all get proper burials. And they're in the far back field where all the other horses are, where they roam and just kind of hang out during the day. So whether it's them or whether it's the horses that perished, I who knows?
Right.
But there's definitely, it's undeniable. If you were to go and visit, as soon as you walk in, you almost feel it. It's like electric in the air.
Is there any phantom sounds accompanied with, besides the galloping that Cheyenne heard, is there any whinnies or, agitated sounds that horses make that are phantom?
There's a lot of screaming.
Oh.
Horses screaming.
But see, it's hard to say, though. It's hard to say whether, because we have so many horses, I haven't been there since last February. I think the count was 38 horses. So it's hard to say that, yes, this is a horse that was in the fire, or this horse was one of our horses making the sound. So that's a tough one.
Okay.
I know the sound of the horses.
Well, it's like I said, it is hard. Didn't you say you wanted to say something else? Oh yes. Gizmo. If you're done with that, if you have anything else to say about horses, I don't know.
Nothing else. That's
okay.
But our cat died. I think
it was last summer. It was June.
No, it was April 3rd.
No, was it April?
Yes, it was.
That was June.
April 3rd.
Oh, sorry. Dad don't remember things. Remember that.
Dang it, Dad.
It was on April. He died, and then I guess I was going to make a sandwich or soup or something. I just know that it was a can, and he memorizes the sound of cans and cans opening and stuff.
Right.
So when I was opening the can, I felt him brush against my legs and wait for stuff.
Aw.
That's right too. Okay, and
I saw him.
I thought you were going to talk about when we found it, but yeah, we've actually all experienced that when we were on our last. Currently, I live in my original house with my. We moved in with my dad when my parents split. He's 74, so we figured it'd be better if we lived here with him. But we lived one row over in a house where a lady had passed away just before we moved in, and we found it kind of weird that our cat just one morning basically, it looks like he just fell over and died. He was only 6 years old. Mm-hmm. Shortly afterwards, Cheyenne had told me that she had saw him. She thought she had saw him
I saw
and
him
felt
many
him.
times.
And it freaked me out because when I was in the kitchen one day, almost the same experience. Out of the corner of my eye, I looked down, and there's Gizmo walking into the kitchen, and it was so real, so that I literally jumped, like I physically jumped, going, oh my God, and then he wasn't there. So I really feel that he was attached to us so much that even after he died, he still hung around.
I mean, when you say that he disappeared, did he just kind of fade out, or can you describe that at all?
He was in the corner of my eye. He was there. He was unmistakable because he was an exotic Persian, which we shaved him into a lion cut all the time. So the great mane, the boots and the puff on the end of the tail. So in the corner of my eye, there he is walking in the kitchen. When I look, he's gone.
Wow.
Just like pop, just gone.
But when I saw him, he looked more like a lion than a cat, but he still looked like him because he had like how he looks. But then I didn't see it out of the corner of my eye. I saw it like staring at it.
Well, see, there you go.
Was he interacting with you at all, Cheyenne? Was he looking at you or anything?
He was looking at me, and he was like walking closer to me. I guess I got a bit scared, so I walked away, and then I turned my head for a second, and then I heard something open, and then he went gone. Left.
Very cool.
I think it was the cabinet. I heard it kind of crackling.
Oh, okay.
Like how he used to get his food.
Yeah, all the time.
His food was in one of the cabinets near the floor, and he would try to open it?
He would open it, and he'd stick his head.
Wow.
Wow, I didn't.
Well, that's a good corroboration there.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's very cool.
Yeah. How many times in all did you guys see little Gizmo?
I've seen him the one time. Once, and yeah, it was only the one time. You said you've seen him a few times.
Yeah. The most memorable, the one that I remember the most is that one time where I saw him in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. But one I can kind of remember is I was in my room, and he was kind of there, but he wasn't there. Zeus was there.
Yeah.
And Zeus was sniffing around and
Zeus was our German Shepherd, who also just recently passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. He was a good dog. He loved that cat.
Yeah, they were best.
That's going to be my next dog. I love German Shepherds. I love them.
They're excellent dogs. They're so loyal and smart. Oh my gosh, are they smart? You wouldn't regret it. The only thing is they tend to, or ours anyway. He got cancer, cataracts, hip dysplasia, all kinds of horrible things.
How old was he?
He was. Now we don't know exactly. He was about 10 or 11 because we had rescued him.
He's in the army.
We won't go into that story. He was about 10 or 11 from the vet's best guess.
I'm sorry, you guys. That's so hard when you lose the pets, lose the fuzzy ones.
Well, he came back home. He's in an urn downstairs in the living room. So that was good. But we so far no experiences with him yet. But who knows? If you have time for one more,
please do.
I mean, I'm racking my brain here. What?
The cat's in a scary house.
Oh, you wanted to?
Oh, got to hear that one.
We got two more. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I think I was 7.
Yeah. We were cleaning up a house. I used to do extreme cleaning. So anybody who had passed away with a house full of belongings that nobody wanted to claim, or hoarders, I would go and I'd clean out their houses. Mm-hmm. And I brought Cheyenne with me one day, and this was
a couple times.
Well, yeah. But go ahead and tell.
But apparently the old person had cats, a whole bunch of cats. Mm-hmm. And apparently there was dead cats in the house too that he didn't have the time to get rid of or something.
Oh, yes. Gosh.
And then when we got there, they were all gone. But I was cleaning in the one room. You go up the stairs, and then there's a bedroom, and then there's more stairs to get everywhere else. Yeah. This was a bit weird. But then I was in the one bedroom cleaning the closet, and then I looked down the stairs because I was throwing things at the bottom of the stairs, and then I saw a black cat jumping up the stairs, and then I waited and I followed it with my eyes, and then I saw that it kind of went out the window, it like went up the stairs, jumped up, and fell out the window.
And it was wintertime, and so I mean the windows would have been closed.
Mm-hmm.
But there you go.
And then no trace of the cat, like snow tracks or anything like that, right? That's cool. I love stories of the animals kind of hanging around. I think it's
they think for us.
What's that?
I think that they stick to us because they don't.
They don't want to go away.
Well, you and I, it depends on if our conscience stays intact when we pass on, we would have an idea. Okay, maybe assuming you're not, it's not like being a dream. You'd assume that you want to find out answers. You want to find out, where do I have to go? What do I have to do? Whereas a cat wouldn't necessarily know that. They just know this is my home and this is where I want to be. Or a dog.
It's so much sadder when it's like the 9-year-old that you were talking about in that apartment building, though. Him hanging around versus a cat or a dog. I think it's so much more lighthearted when it's an animal because they're just kind of doing their animal stuff, right? Like they're running up the stairs or they're trying to get into a cabinet that held their food, and it's a little, not simpler, maybe that's the wrong word because I'm not trying to make it seem like it's not a big deal because it's so cool and it is a big deal.
Oh,
but,
it is.
I love hearing the stories about the animals, and it's so long overdue for me to do an episode on phantom animals that just come back to say, hey, I love you guys. I don't want to go anywhere. I'm not done with you.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. I totally think that they are stuck to us like glue, especially if they hopefully and I can't even begin to tell you how I deplore people that abuse their animals. But if they had a good experience, then I would certainly hope that they would want to stick around us.
I agree. And we are, I actually heard a story from a gentleman about his dogs, and his story, the title was, Our Dog's Heaven is With Us, where, he, even after getting new dogs, his dogs he would still feel the dog jump up on the bed and curl up to his feet when the other dog was downstairs sleeping the dog that was alive was sleeping in his crate down in the basement. In the living, so it's not as, I guess it's not as scary too. And for some reason, a 9-year-old boy running down the stairs, disembodied footsteps, it sounds terrifying. But then when you think about it a little deeper and you go, oh, well, yeah, maybe he's scared. Maybe he's looking for his mom and dad. Maybe he's been running up and down the stairs for the past 40 years.
Right, and that's horrible.
It really is. And that's where, like, people like my friend Leilani, I think, if their gifts are real, they could really help a lot of people if they can talk to these people.
Yeah.
So I haven't talked to her in years. Because with Leilani, the thing is, there used to be a house in Brampton here, and this is my last experience. Second last, but there's another one I can send it to you later. There was a house in Brampton here. It was reportedly haunted. There was a whole plaza set up and built all around this one property. It was in the newspapers. It was on social media. People were scared of this house. Construction workers, people that went in to demolish this house, were scared of this house. First of all, because there was stories that it was haunted by multiple ghosts. People had reported, strange sounds, seeing strange apparitions, and things like that. And I'm sure the stories probably got changed up as they moved through social media more. Anyway, I took Leilani one day and I said, I want you to tell me what you feel at this house. So, and this is probably one of the scariest experiences I ever had. Well, as we're approaching the house, she stops and she goes, my grandma's telling me that I shouldn't go here. Now, her grandma was her spirit guide. And I'm like, okay. I said, can we get close to the house and you just tell me what you feel? So it was almost immediately after she stepped foot on the house, she lets out like a blood-curdling scream. And it was enough. It scared the crap right out of me. And it was, I stopped. I looked at her. She's pale. She says she's going to get sick. Her nose was bleeding. I said, okay. So we step back. We get off the sidewalk, and she stops. She's all out of breath, and she's like ice cold. And I'm looking through these terrified eyes, like, what the hell just happened? And she's like, she tells me, she says, all I can hear is screaming. And if you could see me in the camera, I got my arms up. I'm talking like really aggressively here. So she says, I just hear screaming. She says, it's like glass in my ears. And I go, okay. So I said, is there like, are they saying anything? Or she said, no, they're just screaming. It sounds like there's 100 people just screaming in pain. Oh, God. So I'm like, me being big macho, I'm like, I'm going in. So, I grab my camera. I go out. I can't hear this stuff. So I walk onto the property. I go, there's, windows are mostly all broken. I step inside. I go, I start taking pictures. It wasn't until I got to the top of the stairs that there's that feeling again, that hair on the back of your neck standing up, as if somebody's standing over you going, hey, get the hell out of here. And I did. I got out of there. And, the pictures came back fairly normal. It was not cold. There was some, misty type pictures, but I chalked that up to probably dust because the house had been abandoned for such a long time. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't explain the screaming. I couldn't discount her reaction. How do you make your nose bleed? How do you make your skin ice cold? How do you act on demand like that? I mean, she's not an actor.
And she's not 11 from Stranger Things, as far as we know, right? I mean, that was a huge reaction.
I wrote down 11 with a question mark.
Right? I mean, huge shout out to Stranger Things, and we should mention old Finn Wolfhard with you, right?
Hey, Finn Wolfhard, that's my guy right there.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
How do you, people can cry on demand, but you can't usually make your nose bleed on demand. So for that to go in tandem with her reaction, that's kind of a pretty cool tie-in where you can't just explain that away.
Well, yeah, so there was definitely something to it. The very last thing, I promise, I know we're running long here, I'm sure.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay, good. There was one time, so we used to hang out, and we're both like really musical people. We can both sing really well. We both play guitar. So,
and this, I'm sorry, this is your sensitive friend, Leilani?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
So we're like, okay, we're gonna go. She's married to her husband, and her lived in Orangeville, which is a town about maybe half an hour from where I live. So we were halfway between, and there's this like lookout area. And she's like, we're going to write a song. We're just going to go play guitar, write a song. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll just hang out and play the song. Anyway, we're sitting there at the top of this hill. You can see for miles. It's just like a really cool view. And out of nowhere, like I'm playing the guitar, she stops dead. And this is after this big reaction at the house. This is like maybe months later. She like stops dead. She's like, stop. She goes, we have to go. And I'm like, why? What's wrong? She goes, I don't even know what to tell you. She goes, but I just feel like we have to go. We have to go now. And there's that old feeling. She's like, you probably feel it by now, how scared I am. And I did. I felt this fear, like me. It was probably her scaring me. But we get in the vehicle, and she goes, go now, go. You have to drive fast, go. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, maybe it was my mind playing tricks on me. Maybe there was the whole mirror thing in the rearview mirror. No lie, just the shadow of a person walking up the hill towards where we were just sitting, and all I could see was a shadow. It had the form. It was like a person walking slowly up the road. And she said that's the reason why we had to go, because I just felt nothing but like evil, like. This is not good. We shouldn't be here. And that was the last time I ever went there.
I can see why. But she didn't plan it in your head. She's like, someone is coming. We have to go. Like, that wasn't what was said. She just said, we have to go now. And then when you get in the car, we have to drive fast.
That's it. We have to go. That was just it. We have to go right now. And I'm going, all right. Okay. And then I get this, that feeling that, oh crap, I'm scared now.
Right.
Let's go. And we did. We left and we drove off. And in the mirror, and there's that whole mirror thing. I look in the rearview mirror, and there's somebody walking up the road.
What did he look like? I mean, the best you can describe.
Literally, it was my house coat. It was just a black shadow.
That damn house coat again. Yeah. Was it tall and skinny, or was he, kind of bigger?
It was the way that from what I remember, what I see, because I'm looking at it now, you can see the horizon behind. You can see the lights of Brampton, not too far from us. And he was, if I could profile it, 6 feet tall, broad-shouldered, just black from top to bottom, and almost like, I guess, maybe a hood. There was no facial features. It was almost just a giant, like a big shadow.
Yeah.
So, and it was dark. I mean, it's nighttime. So.
Okay, it was nighttime. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But much like my description, you could see it because it would, it would be like blacker than the blackest black you could think of. So it stood out.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And again, never saw it again.
I think you should take your rear view mirror off your car. I mean, that might just be what you need to do, and then take all the mirrors down, right?
It's going to get me in trouble.
Holy cow.
But I do. I see a lot out of my rear view mirror.
I've spoken about this before, and I've never actually seen one in person, but you know what a psychomantium is, right? I wonder what you would see in a psychomantium. It's just like picture like the smallest recording studio you can, where you can fit a chair in there, and then you walk in, and it's completely black. Maybe Cheyenne has heard of this too. You walk in, you sit in the chair, and it's just a completely black booth, black room. You shut yourself in. There's just a mirror in front of you, and you're supposed to stare into the mirror and just see what you see and see what happens. It's called a psychomantium.
I'm looking at
Yeah, check it out real quick and see if you guys are familiar with that, because it's supposed to be quite a powerful thing, just to look into a mirror. So that's why I find it interesting that for you, this mirror aspect keeps popping up.
There's actually some movies based around that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
There's one actually called Psychomantium.
Yeah.
That sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, check that out. Because especially with you, it seems like there's something going on there, and I know that obviously Leilani, maybe if we want to give levels to this, she might be more sensitive than you, but I think that you definitely have some sort of a sensitivity there to where you're kind of tapped into something, and maybe this whole mirror aspect needs to be looked at more, because that's a common denominator with you, sir.
I agree, and I feel like, oh shit, why?
Right.
But at the same time, I go, wow, I'm happy because I do have these experiences. It is cool.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's like you said, like when you go to get the drink of water at 3 a.m., though, you don't want to see somebody or something standing in your freaking bathroom mirror behind you. That would be horrifying. And
every single day, it's not even something you can leave. It doesn't leave your mind. As soon as I lean down because I do, I cup my hands, I'd run the water, I get a drink. And then when you get up, you're like, hey, no, not today.
I can see why. Yeah. So, yeah, the psychomantium. So, I think they're pretty. I think it's a pretty old school way of like a divining rod or table tapping. It kind of goes back to that. Now, I don't know who came up with it. I should also do a show on that. Maybe people, if they're listening right now, if you've used the psychomantium, if you know someone who's used one and it's worked for them, and what did you see? What was the experience like? I think that on Ghost Adventures, they went to, I think it was down south somewhere, a plantation or something, and this woman actually had a psychomantium in her house that she built just to speak to the spirits. Yes.
I might do that.
So, I mean, for you, dude, it sounds like that's your telephone to the other side.
I wonder if
video
I wouldn't
camera
be getting
the other
over
side.
my head.
I mean, you might be, but just film it. It'll be great for your show.
Or if I disappear, for yours.
Yeah. Well, I've been furiously writing notes the whole time, and it's just like mirror, mirror, mirror. So it's, yeah.
Oh, that is, you know what? And I like this. This also ties into the movie Oculus, that type of deal.
Actually, I haven't seen that. Let me write that down. Oculus.
Oculus is
it
good.
Older?
It's only a few years old, only a couple years old.
Oh, check that out.
It has mirrors.
Okay.
But this psychomantium, I'm wondering, because I've got a garage, I wouldn't.
It doesn't take much because the ones that I've seen is just literally a very. I mean, you probably have to like paint it black inside or get the black sheet because it has to be like you basically can't see anything. And you walk in, there just has to be a chair and then a mirror that you can look right into.
What kind of, I guess, any sort of light source at all in it?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't quite know about that. I always assumed it was just any residual light, but I could be wrong. So I don't want to be, don't quote me on that. But that would be something pretty cool. We could both look into that and see. It wouldn't take up much space, but I would assume it would be much like, because you don't want to dig the Ouija board up in that old house that might be in the backyard. It might be worse than that, so I don't know.
I'm totally open, though. I think this would be great, and I could do it, and then I'd share my experience with you. That is really good.
That would be incredible.
Plywood and I don't know, tart paper on the wall.
Absolutely, exactly, yeah. Any kind of, the black sheeting that they use for landscaping or something like that. I don't think it would take too much. Right. Yeah, just a chair and a mirror. That's all it takes. And we'll have to look into the light source, though. That's a really good question. And now that you bring it up, I'm like, I don't think I've ever thought about it past the mirror and the darkness and the chair. So I don't know if you do need some kind of a sort of a light source to get that barely a reflection.
Here it is right here. I was just looking at literally how to build one.
Let's hear it.
Adjust the atmosphere in and around the area after you've built it. Switch on the small light and close all the mantium curtains from the inside.
Okay.
They should overlap a little to exclude all light from outside. The fabric should ripple around the exterior. Okay, so no flat walls. So it would be better to get maybe black sheets. Like
you said, a few 2x4s or 2x4s, I should say, and big black sheets to where it just that would be actually even cheaper than building walls. So it prefers the sheets, but a light source, though, it does say.
Easier to escape, too.
Yeah. Oh, of course, it could be like Dyatlov Pass, where you're like, I'm going to bring a knife inside in case I have to cut my way out. Because what if you get, like, tangled up and you can't find the little opening?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. That would be horrible. Horrible.
It would be
if
terrible.
If you got that scared to where you were, like, just scratching your way out. That was terrible. I'm sorry. Bad joke. What does it say about the light source? What's sort of above or in front of you?
That's what I'm looking right now. I believe probably just a small, like a very small, if I switched my cell phone on just so it's on like a white screen.
Okay. So just some sort of ambient light. So
yeah,
maybe
just
you can
something even on the ground so that you can.
Well, there you go.
You can just see yourself. That sounds really cool.
But you need to be able to mount a GoPro or something.
Oh, I'll wear
tape stuff.
I'd wear one on my head for sure.
Boom. Oh, that's even better. It's like Bloody Mary with the GoPro on your forehead. You can see her right in the mirror, right?
Oh, this is terrifying already.
I know, it's kind of creepy even just talking about that. But some people actually do build these in their houses for various purposes. And considering your history with the mirrors, you would probably have some pretty darn cool success with it. So just
I agree with you. I'm very excited to actually start this after reading. I'm going to send you the link anyways, just so you can.
No, please do. This is why I love little tangents, because you never know what may come of it. So that's awesome. Okay.
Let me see here. Paste. There is the website that I just visited. Natural Health Techniques, Psychomantiums. I don't know how that ties in together.
Wow, Natural Health Techniques is doing the old Psychomantium. Let me pop this open too. How interesting is that, right?
That is so cool.
That's why I like doing the show, or love doing the shows, because I learn something new every single time I'm on. And
absolutely.
Many people have walked away from experiencing the psychomantium feeling at peace, knowing their loved ones are doing fine, while others have actually healed the relationship between themselves and the person who passed on. So there's all kinds of things in here that they're saying. That's,
That's actually really cool, because I've had the only contact I've had with loved ones that have passed, like my uncle passed away in 2014. I had a dream out of him just a few days later. Everybody was sitting around, because we get together at Christmas and holidays, and everybody's sitting around this giant table, passing food and talking and laughing, and I'm at one end and my uncle's at the other, and he's just sitting back with his arms crossed, and he's looking at everybody with a big smile on his face, And he looked at me, he gave me a nod, and just kind of, vanished backwards, just kind of pulled backwards and vanished.
Wow.
And I even told my aunt, because that was her husband, and she said, I wish I could have that dream, But I thought it was really, really neat that was my mind's way of letting him go, because I was pretty devastated.
Right.
It was, at the same time, it was like, wow, I feel really good about that. So, okay, Shai, you wanted to say something. She's dying to say something.
Yeah, please do.
Go ahead.
So it was in 2016, on June 24th, my friend got hit by a car and she died. But since then, me and my friends, we walk to school, and the place she got hit, we have to walk by there every day.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we feel that she's there, and sometimes we see her. And even some people in cars just look at us staring at nothing, and then I think they see it too, because they're just looking, and then they see us, and then they're confused. And then they're like, oh. And then, even my friends has said that they have seen her everywhere. She used to go to a 7-Eleven with her friends because she loved the pizza there.
Good pizza.
Mm-hmm. And me and my friends used to go there, and they said they saw her at the little slushy machines. And then we see her places that she usually goes to, and we went to visit her last year, visit her parents and her ashes and stuff, and we felt that she was there.
Oh, I'm so sorry about your friend. First of all, that's really horrible. So when you see her, I mean, is it as you remember her when she's still having fun and doing her thing, kind of in everyday life?
Kind of, but when she's at the pool, she just seems it kind of feels I feel when we're there, me and my friends already feel like she's there, and then we feel, I guess, what she's feeling, so then we feel kind of left out or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess she's feeling left out.
Yeah, I would imagine her parents are probably not doing too well, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not so much. I know. Now Cheyenne, when it happened, she organized as funny as it sounds, a lemonade stand in hopes of raising money for the mom and the family.
No, that's awesome that you did that.
They raised close to $3,000.
Wow.
The entire fire school, in our city we have about I think it's 7 different fire stations, and every single one of their stations came one by one with every their trucks.
And police officers.
Yep. Every police officer came by. Every paramedic came by with their teams. They all came in, and it was crazy. The news coverage was insane. But it was for me, I feel they didn't really grieve properly because they went right into this. So maybe that's why they're able to tap into her and make contact with her.
We didn't even want to feel sad because we know that she didn't want us to feel sad.
That's right.
She wanted us to feel happier.
Yeah, I've read that before, and I know it's all speculation, but I've read that those that have passed on are going to find it really, really difficult to go where they need to go if you're still here. Mourning to an unhealthy level. There's mourning and then trying to get past that, right? So I've heard that before. Wow, that is really cool that you guys did that. And I'm sure that Gery, you can second this, but we're not supposed to outlive our kids, so I can only imagine going through that. But that's really cool what you guys did, getting that stand together.
It would be absolutely terrible. I couldn't imagine. Just seeing a broken woman like that at the funeral was hard enough.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being in her shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, Cheyenne, she's 11 years old, and I've got an almost 2-year-old as well, another daughter. Yeah. And I could not imagine losing one of them. I have a friend of mine who just lost her 8-month-old baby, and it's
my gosh,
terrible, absolutely terrible. So
yeah, there's almost no words to even begin to be well, I think I would do that. You would have no clue what you'd do. I think you'd fall to pieces for a certain amount of time, and then you just wouldn't ever be the same. I think that's pretty much what would happen.
Yeah, I've already, I've said it before. If anything happened, and I was left without a family, I don't think anybody would hear from me anymore. I'm just sending you something here, just for later on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the funeral, her mom was pretty creative, and she got like a wooden thing, like one of the wooden boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Or something.
Oh yeah.
And we got to color on it.
Yeah, it was a casket.
Yeah.
And everybody, she laid out tons of markers, and all the kids got to write memories and whatnot on it.
And there were snacks.
Yes, there were.
They put
that went in there with your friend.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
nice. I know how hard that can be. Believe me. I do. But yeah, that was really good what you guys did, and it's very brave, by the way. It's even hard just to go. I remember dreading so much to go to my brother's funeral. Like that was like, I'm like, I don't even think I can do this, because you just have to face it. You have to deal with it, and that makes it so real. But that's really very cool what you guys did for your friend.
You did, and she saw that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Oh.
At the lemonade stand, we felt she was there, and we knew she was there.
That's why you guys kept it going, I think. You guys did really well. And Maya was she was a nice girl. She had been to our house, on different occasions, and it was pretty devastating to hear about it. But I was glad to see them stand up and do what they did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I sent you. I sent you the link of the CTV news coverage on that lemonade stand. Not to be included, just to show.
Yeah, I see that here. I will not be showing that around. That'll be just for me. But yeah. A huge props. And Gery, it sounds like you're raising some really good kids there. So
right.
Yeah. Cheyenne, are you gonna kind of pop in on your dad's new paranormal podcast every now and then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should.
Okay.
I think you should. You're really well spoken, and you've already had all these experiences. So it sounds to me, Gery, like maybe you passed on some of your, I call it, like sightseeing abilities, because I do not have them. I just don't. I had the one thing all those years ago, and nothing since. No explanation for that. Why? Nothing since. But it sounds like you two. What's that?
I was listening to one of your podcasts a little while back. If I could just remember the name of it. You were talking to a lady about this, and you were saying the same thing about how I wish I could just, every time I go out, I see nothing.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's cool. I haven't seen something in quite a while, but I do look. That's why I'm so excited about this psychomantium. I think this is very, very cool. You don't have to be there, Cheyenne. She's shaking her head vigorously.
Don't build it.
Yeah, and Cheyenne might be on the right track, because I don't know if it's a tantamount to, and this might be laughable, but you know how people say when you're done with the Ouija board, you take the planchette off and you pop out the little plastic piece, and it kind of clear. It's the same thing as what you were saying with, you broke the hands in the seance and that was bad, but it's like clearing the air. So I don't know if building the psychomantium and just having it in your house would be tantamount to leaving the plastic piece in the planchette on the board and yada, yada, yada. I don't know if that means...
something I could construct to come apart anyways. So it would be okay, I believe. Yeah. Covering the mirrors, I've heard about that.
Right.
Your mirrors. So
of course, the mirror is covered under an entire... like sheets or whatever you're going to put over it, but
what's going on in there when I'm not in there?
Very true.
We need Satan.
That's a smart girl right there. Like, look, we don't need to be messing around with this stuff. You know what you could do? You could just get some sage. You could sage the thing every night or whatever.
Absolutely.
But let me know. Let me know if you're going to do something like that, because I would be interested to hear what happens. Because sometimes
I will record the whole thing just to have it, just to see.
Yeah.
It could be there could be nothing to it at the same time.
Yeah, it could be complete bollocks, And we're just, there's people sitting in dark rooms staring at themselves in mirrors just for the hell of it. I mean, that absolutely could be the case. But considering your history with mirrors, it could definitely be something. And what I was kind of getting at earlier was it sounds like whatever, and you may not want to call it this, but maybe, your Cheyenne's father. So it sounds like she's seen quite a number of things in her 11 years of life, so maybe whatever you have is kind of passed on to her.
It's very possible. And as my friend Leilani, she's passed her gift on to her daughter.
Yeah.
Kiko has the same
cool.
gift. So it is very neat. I'm more now than ever. I'm inspired to go out and spend more time doing this now that I've been able to actually offload these stories and tell somebody. And oops, I just hit the mic there.
That's all right. I do it frequently. You will do it all the time. It's a huge microphone. I mean, it's massive.
Really, it is. But yeah, I'm definitely. Me and Cheyenne will probably set up a few adventures and go see. There is a haunted. Well, it's supposed to be a haunted cemetery. Mm-hmm. About 25 minutes from where we live. And it's occupied by children, apparently.
And do you guys have any quote unquote ghost hunting gear?
Nothing yet.
Apparently on Ghost Adventures or something, they have like Geiger counters, and there's this video where they bought something haunted where they have fancy sticks for yes and no questions, and it spins.
Oh, really?
Oh, is that a new something new that what's his name? Bill Chappell built for them?
Isn't he amazing?
Oh my gosh!
That guy. What was it? The spirit box is one thing I really want.
Yeah, I got.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. I've got.
Because you just bought something recently.
Yeah, I bought some stuff, but nothing from Bill Chappell yet, and I want to. He's got that paranormal puck, but what I really want is Yeah, he's got that new paranormal puck out, but he's got something called the. Darn it, I'm gonna forget the name now. It might be the new Ovulus, actually. He's got that Ovulus is his across the board, where it says the words, and you don't have to listen to the all that with the spirit box. But I think it runs around $300, where it just will spell out the word, and you don't have to, worry about the and you're not like, oh well, it could be this word or it could be that word, and you're kind of leading yourself or other people. But Bill Chappell is out of the bone.
But that stuff is all based off the frequencies in between radio stations that are basically pulling words out of the air. Yeah. Apparently, right? It's kind of the same. It's funny because it's the same deal that if you've ever seen Transformers, Bumblebee, that's what he did.
Right.
So I hear that stuff and I'm going, it's so loud, and I think it would be more distracting than anything. So this is cool. The Ovulus.
That's what it is. Do you have it pulled up?
Yeah,
is it his newest thing? It's like $300, right? Around there, somewhere around there.
Let's see. It's an app. This is an app, so maybe this isn't the same thing. Is it an actual piece of technology?
Yeah, it should be a piece of gear that you can take with you. I've always wanted some of Bill Chappell's stuff, and it would be cool to talk to him about his gear.
Have you had a chance to speak to anybody from Ghost Adventures?
I've spoken to Aaron, not on the phone or anything, but just through messaging, just very briefly. But I can only imagine how many messages he gets. So it's just been Aaron. But then I had on Greg, who was able to. Were you able to listen to that episode where he got chosen to go to the museum here in Las Vegas?
Yes, I did. Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, and he swears up and down, and that wasn't just for the show. That really shook him up, being in that room with the Dybbuk box. And you know what? I know that people get so, oh my God, Zach, you're talking about Zach Bagans and his museum. He has got some really stuff in that museum. And Greg should be coming out here hopefully in the next month or so, and we're going to go together to the museum to check that out. And I want to go, and I think it's a separate release for the Dybbuk box. I'm like, I will sign right now. I will sign in blood. I have no problem with that. So
just don't take it home.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I see. Okay, so I'm on his website now.
Yeah, what's the website name again? I forget.
Digital Dowsing.
There we go.
Yeah, it's just easier if I send you the link. So what she was talking about.
On the BuzzFeed video is the haunted.
What are they called? Oh, dowsing rods. Dowsing rods. So this Obelisk 5B is $355.
Yeah. Okay, I'm pulling it up right now too. Yeah.
Service repair. What is the handheld? Oh, it's just gear mounts. EVP mic. That's only $29. Oh, that's great. Contact microphone. Dowsing rods. I might have to order some of this stuff. This is all.
Get this one first.
I'll get those. I'll get the dowsing.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing the EVP mic. See now the dowsing rods. I used the dowsing rods at Fox Hollow Farm.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that it didn't work. Maybe it did, but I felt like in sort of slight movement with the dowsing rods was me. So it was like the Ouija board times 10 for skepticism for me, because I'm like, if I move my hand 10 degrees, down to the ground, well, yeah, it's going to swing outward. You know what I mean? So for me, the dowsing rods were kind of a tough go, a tough sell. But I mean, who knows? So if you scroll down to the bottom of Digital Dowsing, you can see Bill Chappell sitting in the middle of his meditation pyramid.
Yes.
That looks pretty cool, right?
That looks very neat. I wonder how that... I have to hear about that.
I mean, it's got to be for something that he's researched, because he doesn't just come out with random stuff. I mean, he doesn't actually have, which I think speaks to the fact that it's good stuff, he doesn't have a ton of stuff on his website. So
no, he's selling more equipment. Like, look at this, a tripod adapter and USB cords. And
right.
What is this here? What are you looking at? That's USB cord. I'm really interested in this EVP mic and the energy speaker.
Yeah.
And then, this Obelisk, that looks really cool.
See, he's had, that's why it's 5B, because he's had that many iterations of the Obelisk, and he used to sell the older ones, but I think he's kind of gotten to the point where, like, well, if you're going to get this, get the best, and I totally agree. So, I think it would be pretty cool to get one of those. I don't know if it's pre-order or not. It looks like it's available right now. But,
ships within 5 days. Available.
There you go. If ordered now, you get it by January 26th.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right? So just more fun things. Hey, you take the Ovilus into the Psychomantium. Oh, dude. I mean, that is gold right there.
Same thing. If you took that, I don't know if you're allowed to take anything with you when you go in and you get to see the Dybbuk box. Yeah,
probably not. I don't even think you're allowed to take your phone out of your pocket when you're there.
Really?
I think so, which I kind of get that, but
the same as much as, because I remember what he was saying is it felt like this thing was just massive. This
massive presence. Yes.
Yeah. So that right there alone, and the fact what got me about that was that I just had this feeling that it was tied to this box but could leave whenever it wanted to.
Yeah, I remember trying to press him about that. I'm like, well, how far can it go? And I'm like trying to be very like, I don't know. I was trying to figure it out, but how can you figure such things out, right? Like, oh my God, it can leave the box. That's not good.
That's the whole point of the box is that it can't leave.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second, it's closed. What are you saying?
Because it was not in the box anymore. And
right.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it follows the box and it's picking its victims. I don't know. It's a really scary item, though. That and oh Jesus, why has it left my brain here? The doll. What is her name?
Oh well, if you're talking about Annabelle, now Annabelle isn't. Yeah, she's not there full time.
No? Okay.
Yeah, she's still, as far as I know, she's supposed to be back in her little home with Lorraine Warren. Ed Warren has passed.
She's still kicking, right? She's still...
Yeah, Lorraine's still around, and kind of doing it. Well, she's gone kind of quiet lately. There's been some odd things posted about the Warrens lately, which we won't go into, but...
There's a lot of people that discount them really heavily.
Right. Yeah, but Annabelle's back in her little room, and in her little box that says, do not touch, do not open, right?
Okay. See, that would be neat to see as well. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, well, the other one that I want to go see is in Key West, in Robert the Doll.
Robert the Doll. Why does that sound familiar?
That's the one where you got to be really careful what you say about him. You have to ask permission before you take his photo, or you want to just be around him and talk about him or write an article about him. You have to ask his permission, because he will basically curse you, and people really do believe that he will curse you. And I don't want to speak ill of Robert. Thank you, Robert, for letting me talk about you right now.
Absolutely. I remember this now. As soon as the picture popped up.
I spoke about this on one of my Erie, Florida episodes. I think it was one of the first ones. I have 3 now up, but Erie, Florida, episode 1, I think should be the one that Robert the Doll is on. But yeah, he's in a box. A nice safe box where nobody can touch him, but supposedly people that go to Florida take his picture without his permission, or if they, like you did, right, outside of that, what was the building that you were talking crap to the guy, and you're like, who would want to hang around their freaking job for 100 years?
The Arts Council building, yeah.
Right, so if you go and you do that to Robert, oh, buddy, you are in trouble. A lot of trouble.
That's terrifying.
So that ties in, same thing. These people, I mean, okay. So what if people like you or people like Leilani, once you go, and I'm not trying to be morbid, but once you go, you guys have really strong presences here, obviously, to where you can see kind of the other side. Let's just go ahead and say that. When you pass, I mean, who's to say that you can't do whatever the hell you want? And you're like, hey, you better be respectful of me. If I want to hang around my damn job, then I'm going to hang around my job. And if you talk crap, then I'm going to mess with you.
I'm going to do something. I'm going to physically affect you.
Yeah.
And that's, and as soon as you said that now, the thought crossed my mind. If somebody were to take one of these psychomantiums, set it up in the same room as Dybbuk box or Robert the Doll, has anybody ever tried to combine these types of things? Anybody ever tried to bring a good idea in, with the Dybbuk box and or is that taboo? Like, people look at that and say, why would you even think about that?
See, but isn't that funny, though? I mean, why would that be taboo, but going to assume that a box holds some ancient spirit isn't, right? Like,
well, exactly.
But that is a cool idea. I don't see why that would be something that would be laughable. Or maybe, and I might get emails that are like, are you guys crazy? That's like, I remember long ago when I said that, I was joking with Sam and Ryan, I'm like, we're going to create an ITF tulpa, just a thought form, and we're all going to pour our energy into this tulpa, and we're going to build this thing. And people are like, are you effing crazy? You don't just say you're going to make a tulpa, okay? That is real shit. You don't mess around with it. So, but that's a really cool thing to think about, because if you're really trying, you go in with your EMF detectors and your digital recorders or your Bill Chappell paranormal pucks or whatever, but why wouldn't you just go ahead and record yourself in a psychomantium if that's one of the more powerful tools that we have, and it's something that has been used for hundreds of years.
Absolutely. Maybe
that's a cool thought.
Because maybe these things, maybe the Dybbuk box, maybe the spirit or the demon or the monster that it holds, maybe it just wants to say something and it doesn't know how, and nobody's listening to it, so he's pissed off. Maybe that's a form of, a way you could get in touch with whatever these things are, find out what they want to say. But at the same time, it could be disastrous.
Yeah. Well, and why, if maybe just nobody's really used one of these in a long time, and I know that people like Zach, and they know what these are because I've seen them on their shows, but if they do work so well, why hasn't anyone maybe tried to take some video inside of a psychomantia? Maybe the logistics just aren't there because night vision in a mirror just doesn't work that well, or it's too dark for a regular camera. I don't know. It could just be logistics, but
maybe it's something that happens only inside the mind of the person who's doing it.
That is also a very good point. That is,
right.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure if I sat in a dark room right now after having conversation with you and Cheyenne, in front of a mirror, I would probably freak myself right the hell out.
You're pretty sure. Own brain.
Yeah. Or the ice wall for the flat Earth theory. I mean, that's freaking terrifying because it's Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Oh God, it's terrible. I'm going to do some research on that too. I can't wait to do. Maybe I will. I'll do a 5-episode series on talking to these flat earthers. Sorry, Cheyenne, you're waving your hand. What do you want to say?
I could bring up the flat Earth in the debate team at school.
You guys have a debate team on that at your school?
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on with that?
I'm not in it, but I might join soon. They just choose a whole bunch of topics and talk about it for an hour.
Oh, that's so good.
And then whichever they have 2 teams.
Yeah.
And whichever team ends up with the most people wins.
Wow.
And yeah.
Very cool. I didn't know that.
You would be very good. You're very well spoken. I think you would be very good in a debate style group. I will just say that right now. So you should totally join that.
Well, she certainly doesn't lose arguments at home, so believe me.
Right? You're like, yep, you would be fine.
11-year-old attitude I was never, ever prepared for.
Yeah, you don't go up against that, dude. You lose every time. Yeah, I can only imagine it kind of gets worse every year, right? You lose a little more.
I hear it gets better at 12.
Oh, okay.
So
I there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Clear.
They're like, all right, maybe you're right, Dad. Maybe you're right, Mom.
Oh, that you know what? I know all the hell I put my parents through.
Right.
She's giving it back to me this year. She's a good though. She is great.
Well, I argued my way to a rabbit.
Yeah, she did.
You what?
Tell her.
I argued my way to get a rabbit.
Oh, you have a rabbit. Yes, we had rabbits in the house. Now we still have a zoo though. No rabbits, but 4 rats, a bird, a fish, and 3 dogs. So
I had about 40 rats.
Nice. They're really such sweet little animals. We've had the 4 rats, and we've added, a rat as one would pass on. And I will say that we've had them for about 2 years, and not once has one ever been aggressive, ever bit anyone. They just want to be around people. They are such little people animals. They love their people. Yeah. They're sweet. Ours are all hairless, though. So.
Oh, even better. They love to be tickled on the back. We had ours. Obviously, the more common name we had was Splinter. We had one named Splinter.
Yes.
And he loved to be tickled. We introduced him to 2 females with
and then we got him brothers.
Well, yeah, the brothers went really quickly. With the whole idea that we're going to breed them, Cheyenne's going to make some money in the summer. We'll sell some.
Right.
So the 2 females got pregnant, each of them having, one had 13, one had 15.
Wow. No, they both had 15. Was
it both 15? I thought one. And then, unfortunately, I didn't separate the Splinter fast enough.
He ate them.
No, they both got pregnant again.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I went really dark with that because...
Yeah, you did.
Okay, here's why. I'm sorry. Let me explain. You're like, sure. Wow, yeah, they ate them? What the hell? No, I grew up with gerbils, and when you don't separate the gerbils from their young, they eat them. So, sorry. I went really dark with that.
Wrong, though,
Cheyenne's like, oh my God.
Well, Splinter actually did not. He stayed with the young ones. He didn't hurt them at all.
A couple of the girls got pregnant though.
They did. It just ended. It turned into this whole we have to stop because all the rats are getting pregnant. What happened was the second litter that one of them had, the entire litter got eaten by the moms and the other more mature babies. So it was just we had to separate them all. I had males in one, females in another, adults in another.
Kids.
It was just a mess. We had to adopt them out as fast as we could. That was it was too much.
I posted a video in the group page that I think people were kind of shocked by, but to me, I'm like, well, this is like what I saw as a kid. It was horrifying. But then you're like, oh, that's just nature. It was a chipmunk he had already eaten the other half, but he was working on the bottom half of a mouse.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, well, that's just, and people are like, oh my God, I'll never unsee that. And you're like, nature, what are you going to do,
That's exactly what it is.
He's an omnivore. He likes a little bit of meat with his veggies. What are you going to do?
My dad's cat eats the heads off birds and leaves them. So.
Yeah. Survival of the fittest, man. If you're not sure if you're going to eat again, you eat what you can.
Absolutely you do. And sorry, the episode that I was talking about, it was Through the Veil.
Okay.
You were speaking with I think that's
Cisco,
the one.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was the one there. It just popped up on my phone. It's being really slow. So yeah, that's pretty much, those have been my experiences. Those have been Cheyenne's experiences, and I've got to talk to her because she doesn't tell me enough. I'm just out about some of her personality.
You know what, Dad? Cheyenne, what do you think about this? I think Dad's just not listening all the time, huh? I'm just kidding. I'm giving you a hard time. But really, though, listen to your daughter when she.
Absolutely.
You fall off of things too much.
What's that?
Well, she's referring to 2015? 2015.
And 2016 and 2017.
Well, 2015, I had a really bad accident at work.
Oh.
I fell out of the back of my work truck, and I cracked the back of my head on something.
Oh,
I don't remember it happening. I was in the hospital for a while, came home, had to basically learn how to talk again, had to learn a lot of things over again.
Oh, God, Gery, I'm so sorry.
It was terrible. I was off work for a year and a half because it was a concussion, but it was a major traumatic brain injury, they called it. So I'd gone through therapy. I tried to go back to work one day. I was actually going to do a meeting just to sign my papers to come back, and I woke up face down on the floor in basically a puddle of blood because I had passed out and hit my head again when I blacked out.
God.
So it was terrible. And so what she talked about me not remembering things is I have a terrible memory now. I'll go through the week and forget Tuesday and Wednesday ever happened, and I can't recall it. It's really kind of weird.
Oh, now I feel horrible. I was just poking fun. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't know.
Oh, God.
It is funny in the same because she calls me all the time. She's like, I told you that yesterday. I'm like, I don't even remember yesterday. So
I remember
it's all good.
I remember once you forgot Calvin's name and you called him Dingy Dongy.
Hey, that probably works too, right?
No, I'm sure I made up some kind of word. I don't know, but yeah, whatever, you deal with it. That's the only thing. That's why I love doing what I do. I love talking. I love being, the idea of my new podcast that I'm bringing out. I love being on this one with you because I get to express this stuff, and when I put something out into the open air, and I can't forget it then.
Cheyenne, if you guys are starting to go on kind of ghost hunts and doing your thing, then you can just, if you start to tell your dad something that's kind of strange, or hey, I saw this cat or a person or a dog, just record it. I mean, all of us should do that anyway. So then you could be like, see, I told you. I did tell you this. It's okay.
I agree. In fact, it's 9:20 now on Friday night. We might go somewhere tonight. We might head out to.
We have to record it.
Well, we will. You know what?
Yeah.
Cemetery out in it's a very small. It's like a horse village, not too far from here, way out in the country. The cemetery is on a curve, and it's, I don't know I haven't done too much research, but the children, or the cemetery is occupied mainly by children. It was an accident that had happened years and years ago. Apparently.
And they put all the children in the same cemetery. In
the same cemetery, and the people who live around there have, from the stories that I've been able to look up, said that they hear like laughter and kids' laughter sometimes in and around this area.
I will say, even if you don't have any ghost hunting gear, even just, as you guys know, just busting your phone out and get that. I have the, it's called Voice Record Pro, and it's actually really good. I think it was only 99 cents for the Pro version, but I think even the free version is, I mean, our phones are pretty advanced, so even if you do that.
I've got a small digital recorder. It's pretty old, but I would definitely download that. And Pro version's only 99 cents. That's great.
Yeah, I think it's literally called Voice Record Pro. I can send, if you want, I can of course send you a screenshot. But
sure.
You guys are a real treat to talk to. Thank you guys so much for all your time tonight.
Absolutely, anytime you want. We're. What do you want to add?
When we go ghost hunting, I have a little bag that I usually bring that usually has weapons that aren't really weapons. It's like a pocket knife and really strong perfume, and I think we brought a machete once.
I keep it. That's not for a weapon. That's just in case. Trees fall in storms around here, and I mean, we're Canada. We get ice storms, at least twice a year. So the machete in the car is simply for escaping if a tree falls in your way.
Hey, you never know who you might run into. It's always good to have a knife or two or a machete in hand, right?
Absolutely. But yeah, as we do more, I'm so motivated to go out and do this now.
Well, after all this creepy talk, I'm like, oh my gosh, what can I do around the house just to? I should just build a psychomantium right now. All right, let's do tandem psychomantiums.
That's great.
What if we psychomantium at the same time? Would we open two portals at the same time?
We'd see each other.
Oh my God! Can you imagine? Like, we're cool. Like, who needs FaceTime? What's this BS? Get a psychomantium. FaceTime doesn't work half the time. Ever since Steve Jobs passed away, Apple has just been dropping the apple. Let's just say, okay, Newton's law.
You don't have the leader with the iron fist anymore.
No, dude, no, it's bad. Every update, they're trying to ruin your phone. I swear to God, it's a conspiracy.
Absolutely.
If you guys would keep me updated, not just with a psychomantium, because I think it'll be a really a cool experiment because you have the background with the mirrors, obviously. But the second, you guys' show comes up, let me know. I'll share it. And even if you guys want to, you both, Cheyenne, I like talking to you too. So if you guys want to both hop on, when that finally comes up and you have the name and, the feed is live or it's going live next week, the week after, whatever, let me know. You guys can hop on even just for a short segment and say, hey guys, it's coming up and here's where you can find it. Here's the name, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super. I really appreciate that. I do.
Of course.
And I'm working on. It may seem silly. I've been working on introductions, so I want to have something. I really want to hit it hard. I want it to be. I want to make this work. I really want people to listen and bring some actual knowledge to it. I mean, like you do so much research and talk to some really cool people, and that's the level that I want to be at. Because I've listened to some that are just you go, oh gosh, like. It's terrible. I'm falling asleep. So, I really want to hit this properly, and I think that's what we'll do. Is we'll probably go out and do some weekly research and